Hello and welcome everybody out there in Twitch and D&D land to the newest session here of New Embrace. Now, before we jump into the action, as per usual, we have a few short announcements that we have to make. First on the list is open slots. We have plenty of open slots in many of the different games that I run on this channel, including 2 new games that are starting on Tuesdays. If you are interested in reaching out and joining any of these games, including this one, which we currently have a slot available for as well, you are more than welcome to reach out and jump on in. We are a pay-to-play D&D community, but we are more than inclusive and open to anybody who wishes to jump in and have their fun. Outside of that, we also have a different command called projects. Projects are little things that I'm working on the side that I keep getting more and more progress on, and that I'm working on a way for me to start streaming some of them as well in the near future. For instance, one of the projects I'm currently working on is my Murder of Savannah one-shot module. Now, this module is going to be free for anybody out there in the world to pick up. It's going to be listed on the DM's Guild as soon as I'm done making it. I just got the cover art today. I have an artist in mind to do the graphics for me to make it, prettied up for me and everything like that. If you're watching this over on YouTube, not YouTube, sorry. If you're watching this over on Facebook, you may notice that the cover art for the page is different. It is that we are using for the cover art for everything. So definitely, if you like what we're doing, support us here. Support me. It's a lot of fun. I like making D&D stuff and playing fantasy games all the time. Outside of that, though, I don't think there's anything else that I care to talk about. So, Solaris, tell us what happened last time we played. All the time. Outside of that...
Good to unmute myself?
Yep.
All right, so basically what happened was we all met in the Tavern of Umbridge. Through various means and various drinks, we came by conversation and met each other. As N was telling a story, we were interrupted by a member of the Council of Many who started making comments about the Yggdrasil tree and the Borealis that occurred that night, and how it would actually weaken the protection of the tree on the town. He sent us on a mission to explore DuPont Manor and go deeper within, which we agreed to do for some money and anything else like information. I can't remember what we agreed to, but anyway, so we made our way to DuPont Manor. We ran into a few obstacles, such as 2 squatters, which we disposed of quickly through the use of Solaris's magic. We don't know what happened to them, though. We made our way deeper into DuPont Manor, into the crypts, found a few names of the family. We found the crypt of the family themselves, and some of the people buried down there had actually turned undead, so we had to fight our way through that, and eventually came to a ritual that was going on deeper down into these crypts to summon a demon of some kind, and let the kind of membrane between the material plane and the plane of the abyss, while it was weakened, basically puncture a hole through it and let demons in. We disposed of this kind of higher up demon, who then continued to watch us through the portal as we discussed things and talked about the black book that Solaris found and all this other stuff. Eventually, we rested and made our way out of DuPont Manor, and we're just about to speak to Garvin? What was his name?
Garvin sounds good.
Okay.
Is that what you wrote down?
That's just what I think I remember. But yeah, so that's basically where we're at.
Alright. So, before you all left, though, Solaris took a few moments to look around the estate, really take in the cultist aspect that the people were producing down in this location. And not being able to find very much information, but a few more sketches in his book, you end up going outside and heading back into town, watching the rest of the festivities transpire, and hunting down the benefactor of this mission. Now, as one point of order, the representative, the individual was only a representative of the council. He is not a member of the council, just because that is a very big difference.
Okay.
Each council member has numerous representatives at their disposal. However, they do hold a lot of respect and power. They are nowhere near as, let's say, respected as council members. So, you make it all the way back to the inn. You look around, and you see the individual walking out from behind the counter. He approaches each of you. I assume by the fact that we are not all dead, you are all successful in some regard.
In some regard.
Oh, please. Would you mind enlightening me to the events that transpired tonight?
Well,
Is it just us in the bar with them?
There are a couple of other patrons, but their heads are flat against the tables from way too much drinking.
Given the party.
Lynn is also still doing her rounds of cleaning up the place. Luke seems to be counting the funds that he's produced for the evening. But aside from those two, there's nobody else here. Well, and passed out drunk people and the party.
We should probably talk over drink.
Well, if it's agreeable with everyone, the greenhouse at the villa is open. We could have a private discussion there.
The greenhouse?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one to deny more privacy when it comes to things like this.
Very well.
Sounds good to me.
Very well. He turns
I'm
on
going
his heel.
to get something to drink out of the tap or keg, whatever's there.
You walk over, and Gabriel is already pouring himself one, so pours you one as well, and you both walk out of there with your two large gauntlets and drinking amongst the rest of the rowdy crowd. It's typical, given the festivities that are currently happening. Looking around, you still see a little bit of that residual blue skylight high above you. It seems to just flicker against some type of reflective element that none of you knew existed and shimmers a bit further away.
What direction does it go in?
Up.
Oh, like up? Like straight up in the air?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't know if it maybe like went like a...
Southwest.
Yeah.
It is not an airline. However, while this is happening, Rowan, would you like to roll me a perception check?
Yeah.
Please and thank you. All right. So apparently I was mistaken. You rolled a natural 20 for a 26. Yeah, there's not many things you would not be noticing. Given the circumstance that surrounded you this evening, the grueling battle, the fight that happened, the odd, undead, unnatural state that everything happens in, you're still a bit on edge. So you're watching the crowds of people very suspiciously, and you noticed an individual. She passes by a couple of people who seem to be singing gleefully. She's wearing a simple strapped bralette that seems to just fade down her torso, and a loose-fitted leafy shawl over her shoulders that seems way too impractical given how frigidly cold it is. Even under the protective nature of this tree, it is still... that's beach wear. at best. You look over at her, and she has this deepened yellow skin, almost on the verge of conveying itself as brown, and the hair flows backwards in two giant braids on either side, being intertwined and just drops over her shoulder. And you swear you see horns or antlers inside of those braids. She looks at you and smiles. Just puts a finger over her mouth.
How far away from us is she?
She's about 30, 40 feet away.
Rowan just waves a little awkwardly. Does she react?
She does. She smiles and beckons you with her hand.
I go over there.
Alrighty. The rest of the party, it's kind of weird. Rowan was with you a moment ago, but she seems to just blended into the crowd. Which, I mean, isn't the weirdest thing, considering that your other companion just did the same as well. The one whose character sheet I archived and I forgot their name, and I apologize. Cloud. Thank you. So, Rowan, you go approaching over towards this mysterious individual, and she keeps walking until you make it over to a little fountain that's right outside of the tree. And you know that if anybody gets too close to this location, the guards are instructed to attack on sight. But she sits against the wall and throws her leg over the fountain, dripping it into the little bits of water that's still flowing inside of it.
You said that if you approach that, typically the guards go after you?
Yes. If you approach too close to the tree, it is considered a sacred ground that nobody's supposed to go near. But the guards seem to be ignoring her.
Okay. Are any of the guards looking over in our direction at all?
A few of them are looking at your party, but nobody's looking at you right now.
Okay. Rowan goes over and joins her at the fountain.
She gestures for you to sit. Hello,
Sit.
Rowan. It's really nice to meet you. She stretches her hand out. I've heard a lot of great things.
I take her hand and shake it.
It's warm. Very warm. Not like a heated warmth that would be concerning to you, but a comforting, almost like just by touching her hand, you feel like you have the biggest hug from your grandmother that you've ever had.
What's your name?
Yiz.
Are you from around here, Yiz?
I am.
From this town?
Not exactly, no. I'm more from the, area. Like yourself.
I don't recognize her at all, do I, DM?
Roll me... Let me look at your character sheet real quick. Roll me a d20, please.
Okay. That's a /R
Space.
2d4.
/R space d20. Or over on the left-hand side, there is also a d20 that you can just click that, and it'll roll it for you automatically. $17. She's familiar in a way that you can't really put your finger on. You haven't met many people who have her complexion, ever. And you've traveled across the great expanse of Claimstead, the wilds, the area as a whole, all of the territory. You've been around here for most of your life, and you've listened to stories from many different travelers, but you haven't come across people with that type of look. And as you're looking a bit more closely, it's not horns that she has, but antlers. She has 4 of them. 2 in the front that are a little tiny and hooked over, and 2 a little bit more back that hook up and branch into 4 points each. It kind of sits on her head like a bit of a headdress, but now that you're this close and because you rolled insanely high on your perception check, you notice those are antlers. But she feels and seems very familiar.
Did you come here for the lights?
Yeah. I love it when this happens each year. It's beautiful. Very warm, very calm. Reminds the people of where we came from, you know?
I do. Have you come here years prior?
Oh, about every year. I wouldn't miss this for anything.
I don't remember seeing you.
Must not be looking that hard.
Did you come with anyone else, or are you alone?
Just myself.
Do I notice anything unusual?
Her right foot, other than the fact that she's not wearing any shoes, socks, the left foot is inside of the snow, no problem, and the right foot is inside of the flowing water fountain in freezing temperatures, and she seems comfortable. That's very odd. Even for you. You like the cold, but that's a bit much.
You don't seem to be too bothered by the cold.
No, it never really bothered me. Yes.
That's...
Yes. For copyright reasons, I could not say it the right way.
Yeah, I said it in my head.
But I wanted to finally meet you in person. It's been nice getting to know you. And thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
She reaches past you and kind of like grabs onto one of your braids and twists it very gently. And after that twisting happens, you feel a little dizzy for the briefest of seconds, and then clarity kicks in and instinct kicks in. You slap the hand away. And when you look, she's just smiling at you again, going, "It's fine. Just want to give you something."
What did you give me?
You look up into your braid and kind of like loosen it a little bit, and you see that there's a single green leaf that's been tied into the braid.
Do I recognize what kind of leaf it is?
You do. It is a 5-point leaf that has 2 little blue jewel-like dots inside of them. The 5 points all seem to be twisted and woven into the braid itself in a way that anchors it in there very well. Although it's not strenuous to have it in your hair like that, it just fits comfortably. And you recognize that it as a leaf of the Yggdrasil tree.
Why did you give this to me?
Well, when somebody goes out of their way to help you, it's very common that you reward them with something. The fact that you helped me for no other reason than it was the right thing to do means I'm happy to give this to you.
Okay, so I recognize her, but I don't know from where, right?
Correct.
How did I help you? Remind me.
You made sure nothing bad happened to this town.
I see.
She smiles and She looks over the crowd for a moment and goes, I don't really understand their fashion sense. It makes no sense at all, honestly.
It's impractical.
Yeah. I mean, look at that one over there. That's like a peacock feather on the hat. She's pointing.
I'm surprised it hasn't blown away in the wind.
When you turn your head to look at it, and you see her hand withdraws, and when you look back, she's gone.
What? Now I'm just sitting at the fountain by myself?
Yeah.
I look around to see if anyone saw me maybe talking to myself.
You seem to be completely ignored right now.
Is there anything where she was sitting before at all, or nothing?
No imprint, no indent. However, the little bit of water inside of the fountain seems to be shifting as if it was recently disturbed.
Well, I stand up and kind of straighten my shirt, look around one more time, and then start walking back to where I had left everyone before.
Alrighty. Everyone, as you've been approaching towards the greenhouse, Rowan does catch up with you, just for missing for but a moment.
Hey
Where
guys.
did you run off to?
Just wanted to look at the fountain while we were kind of standing around.
There's a fountain. What is... Oh yes, a fountain.
Yeah, it bubbles up water.
Of course.
So, Anne, have you been regaling them with the purpose of a greenhouse and exactly what a greenhouse is?
Pretty much, just kind of like, and I have a feeling that Solaris would be probably the most interested in it, because it would be saying about how their father was like, brought this, garden with him, and it's a lot of elven plants, and how it's kind of hard for it to survive during the winter, so that's why they built the greenhouse to protect it, and talking about all the different types of plants and making teas from them as well.
You're muted.
Yeah, do we notice the leaf in Rowan's hair at all, or no?
That is a really good question. What's everybody's passives?
13.
Well,
Solaris notices on a 14. Solaris, we still can't hear you if you're talking. Yeah, you're not muted on Zoom, so your output setting might not be set correctly.
Could be a mic issue.
Yeah. Now
Like
you
the
are
headset
projecting
itself
no
has.
mic. Nope. Oh, heard something. Uh-oh. Nope.
What?
No. Wait, I think I just heard something.
I'm just not gonna use the microphone then.
Okay. Now we can hear you.
All right. I was just saying I'm quite interested to see what it looks like in person.
And as a point of order, Solaris, you are the only one who notices the leaf inside of Rowan's hair. And it's very easy to notice it matches perfectly the tree. Every leaf on this tree looks exactly like that. Although the number of blue dots varies from 1, 6, all in between. This one has 2.
All right. quietly take note.
So, you all make it past the Yggdrasil tree, walking into the town for a few moments and noticing the nicer estates in this area. There are a few less humble abodes for many of the people who have many different dealings, let's say. And as you go walking past them, you see that there is a house that is in full bloom party mode. You can hear the ruckus from inside, the very loud, ostentatious people laughing, having a great, fantastic, grandiose time. And N walks with you all out back of that house, where you see that there is a lovely, large, dome-like structure with little glowing embers floating about inside. And when you approach closer, you realize it's not embers per se. It appears to be little glowing orbs of light. You get over to it and you have to rifle around for your key, but you find it and unlock, and when you open it up, it is a refreshing, incredibly warm environment. Very, very humid as well. Any of you with more wild hair, it is now frizzy. I am sorry, Gabriel.
Well, come in. There's a seating area here in the middle, and we can all get comfortable and talk about what we need to talk about.
It's quite nice.
I don't want to break anything. There's something I could fit on that I wouldn't possibly destroy.
There's the furniture around. There's some that's like built in stone, so
Perfect.
you should be able to sit on that.
So, looking inside, there are all manners of different greenery, flowers, vegetables, even some fruits. You see that there's a very lovely blackberry vine twirling around a very lovely looking statue that's inside of this room. Everything in here looks well kept, very well tended to, and delicious.
A statue of?
It appears to be a mundane statue of some type of elven individual. It doesn't mean anything to you.
An elf.
Yeah. Elves like looking at themselves. It's very common.
Yeah. Vain people.
Yeah.
So are
As he catches a
tieflings.
glimpse of as he catches a glimpse of himself in the mirror.
Yeah. It's so impractical. I don't need to look to know I'm fit.
Are there any orchid type flowers in this greenhouse?
I don't know. N, are there?
Definitely, especially since they're such tricky plants. There would be a small variety of them, and they would probably be sitting off on the side because they require such specific conditions.
So here's a question. Solaris, what is the elven flower of Selderon Fion?
I don't know.
It's anything you want. Choose it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's say I was gonna say that Solaris would be distracted immediately as soon as he spotted an orchid. So, I mean, I'd say that probably that.
What color?
I'd say like a white and purple.
So, the native flower of the nation that all of you reside inside of. Very beautiful, yet very complicated looking little flower. Orchids are exceptionally hard to maintain and grow in most environments, hence the extreme humidity in this room.
Yeah. Solaris is already like kind of kneeling down really close to wherever the closest one is and just kind of like just scanning it.
Your benefactor smirks. Lovely little place you have. Thank you for sharing.
Of course.
Is this your home, N? Or Families?
Families.
Ah,
So, now that we have a bit more privacy, he twists his fingers and the door shuts immediately. Please, enlighten me. What happened?
Well, anyone?
I
We
honestly
encountered.
totally forgot he was here.
We first encountered what stopped the first party that you sent.
What was that?
That was an ogre
An ogre.
and a
He may have
gnome.
not sent that one. Those two.
No, that was what stopped the first party.
Oh, I thought you said they sent them. Sorry.
It's alright.
You mean to tell me a simple ogre and gnome?
It wasn't simple. This was unlike any of us had seen, really.
The individuals I hired for this job are very well esteemed.
And they're very
Contractors.
dead.
Well, not all of them. One of them came back.
Yeah, it's Inglis.
Yes. He seemed a little tired to give me a full report and a little beaten and bruised, so I was hoping that you all would be able to enlighten me further. But you mean to tell me it was just an orc and a gnome? Huh. I'll be sure to add that to their review. Alright, continue.
We made our way into the rest of the mansion, which took some doing. The family had it themselves protected very well.
Yes, the DuPont family was known for their discretion.
Discretion would be a word for it, certainly. So we made our way through, though. It seems that they were not so discerning in their afterlife as they were in their first life, since many of them were under the power of a necromancer.
You mean to tell me that that family dabbled in necromancy?
It seems so, at
That
least
is
a portion of
Very
it.
much so.
That
Very
is an
much so.
outlawed form of magic
Yes.
outside of the appropriate schools and locations for it. And you see that he's been writing in a little journal everything you've been saying, scribing it perfectly verbatim.
So as we made our way through that, there also seemed to be some sort of creature that was encaged. It seemed to have some sort of enthralling kind of effect, but it certainly isn't of this plane. I'm certain of that.
Was the,
Would you-
was the creature's nature similar to your own, or even more otherworldly? He does say that with a bit of a pretentious attitude. It's a common prejudice for people outside of Claimstead.
Yeah.
From the abyss.
The Abyss. And how are you certain of this?
Because it seemed demonic. That's all I can say. From what I've read.
It didn't look like me.
Hmm.
So that's simple enough.
And did
It
you
seems
tend to that creature appropriately?
We sent him back to where he came, but it seems as though he's a powerful entity and was able to regain his strength on whatever plane he's from very quickly, and then continue to watch us through the portal while we discussed what we could do.
Describe this portal to me more appropriately, please.
There was
In the shape of an eye, right?
An eye.
right, and it seemed that there was language above it that says that the eye that wishes to wander. There says also something about remaining closed until the end. Lie on the pedestal for fear the dreams being let loose upon the world.
Very interesting indeed.
And the creature behind it kept taunting us by saying that there was an anchor.
An anchor.
A
Yes.
person, possibly?
I wouldn't credit the anchor with such a thing like that, but definitely some type of entity.
That
Any
it
hints?
felt. The current lakes.
The lakes.
Spoke of some lakes, yes. The course and drain.
We think we may be able to find this anchor there. So, your
He also
expertise
spoke
would be
of some.
helpful.
He also spoke of some that went through the gate, as in onto the other side.
I didn't catch that.
Shut up, Siri.
Not now, Siri, please. You're embarrassing me.
It's just on the side.
Did you know Alexa could play D&D? Just saying.
Alexa, roll a d20.
That'd be hilarious.
No, she actually will. But he looks over at you and goes, You say the lakes. Are you referring to the Hooked Lake and the Finned Expanse?
I refer to the course and the drain.
He looks at you, just scratches the side of his face. That's a very old name for those lakes.
It's the proper name.
It is their proper name. You are correct. Something that an individual as yourself should not be well versed in. Modernly, we refer to them as the Hooked Lake and the Finned Expanse to better define what they are.
Yes, because the Hooked Lake itself is shaped like a hook.
Mm.
Right?
Creative people, yes.
And of course, the Hooked Lake was referred to as the
Well, don't hurt yourself over this. It's a negligible difference. Just a interesting point. Thank you. While you're trying to contemplate that, I need Kothar and Rowan. All three of you, please roll me a history check.
Jesus.
In with the big brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No modifier, don't care.
Yeah.
Alright, 18. That means you have access to all of this information. Do you plan on making it public?
Sure.
Awesome. Then allow me to edit it all in. Delete that. There is now going to be a new handout for each of you to enjoy. However, I will read through it, and you understand what it is as well. The territory surrounding the Hook Lake, as well as the Finned Expanse, is referred to as Balthask Wilds. The population is about 100 locals, 200 tribes people across 3 different tribes. The lore surrounding this territory is considered to be some of the most lush and fruitful forests in all of Solemn. Through many strenuous years of bartering, Claimstead has convinced the local tribes to allow them to set up a single port on the southwestern point of the Hooked Lake. Though Hooked Port is technically owned by Claimstead, most of the populace considers themselves to be with the courts of the local tribes. The two primary religions, and here's the first religion drop I'm dropping to the players and anybody watching, is the Wilds of Kelshin and the Boaters of Boints. People of interest inside of that territory would be the Portmaster Glade, who oversees all of the points of interest inside of the port, and the tribe's representatives, Kelshin and Boints. Though it is a religion that they all follow, these individuals are not themselves deities. They just express the religion that everybody should be following within their limitations. And that is everything that you know about the location.
Well, that makes sense, since Father would probably be the one who's coordinating all that trade.
Quite possibly. Glade is a very simple man, but very terrifying. He is a full-blooded orc. He's a half-orc that's the size of an actual orc. And he is known as a beheader of individuals that go against him or break any of his rules inside of the port. They believe themselves to be members of the Wild, not members of Claimstead. So they act upon the laws of nature, survival of the fittest. If you break our rules, we kill you.
Yeah, Anne would definitely share all that. It's like, be on your best behavior.
Sounds fun.
It sounds like you have a bit of familiarity with it. Would that have anything to do with your family?
Yes, we have a bit of communication, trading goods, and so we have to make ourselves amenable.
Good. Then, this will be very easy for me. He pulls out a small little pouch and tosses it to you, and seeing you being the forefront of this party and the speaker for them. There is your payment for the previous mission. I really appreciate the work that you've done, and if you would like, I can credit you all with this as well within the documents in Selderon Fion. Of course, if you prefer to be uncredible for these type of activities and off the record, I can adhere to that as well. It is completely your point. Solaris, roll an insight.
Mm.
20. Dirty 20. That's wrong. Everything gets documented by these people. That is one of their fail-safes. They follow everything. They follow rules to a point, and they make it very pointed to document every encounter with any capable individual for different political reasons, to see if anybody could be a potential threat to them in the future or a useful asset as well. So by him offering you that, that's a bit shady.
Kind of a test, maybe?
If that's how you want to look at it.
Okay.
Which would you all prefer? On the books, off the books?
I don't see the point of going off the books with this.
Fine then. We will file a formal report with everything. He reaches into his little, let's not joke about it, it's a man purse, and pulls out different applications and hands one out to each of you. Full names, place of origin, preferred titles if you hold any, of course, association with the cause, and I will add in the description of the task that you all did for us at the bottom. Gabriel looks at the paper, looks at you, and with wide eyes, just shakes his head no.
You can put a pseudonym, Gabriel. It'll be all right.
Everybody,
So patiently signs.
does anybody alter what they put in for this
So
document?
what are the information we give them?
Place of origin, place of birth,
Yep.
full name, any title you may hold, and he's going to add in the description of the job that you all assisted with.
Rowan spells her first name incorrectly and then puts a last name of croissant.
Okay.
Do you want these truthful or?
Well, that is... If we are going to file formal reports, the accuracy of them needs to be very, very important, of course.
Yeah, but what if it gets you in trouble? I don't mean. It might get you in trouble.
All I am doing is keeping proper reports. I will not get in trouble for that. If you would get in trouble for your name, well then I apologize for that situation and I will look further into you.
I write everything correctly, but I help Gabriel kind of come up with something on the fly.
Alright. A completely different alias for him as well.
I write everything correctly.
Okay. Kothar, do you know how to write in Common?
Nope.
Okay. So what language do you write it in?
We'll go Draconic.
Draconic?
Actually, I mean, I know Common, but I don't think I know.
The script of it.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. So you write it all down in your native tongue, and he collects it from everybody, puts it back in his purse. Well, wonderful. Well, since we're doing everything on the books now, I can officially start recruiting you for more business as representatives of Selderon Fion, if you would like. Of course, the nature of the business is going to be completely need to know. Only yourselves should be knowledgeable about the task at hand. I'm going to be taking these reports back to our fine capital, and in the meantime, I would like to offer you all some more work, if you are interested. Seems you're all far more capable than the previous employees I had.
What kind of work?
Does it pay?
Of course, everything pays.
Does it pay?
What if I requested a favor as payment?
We have a different file for that as well, depending on the size of the favor that it is that you wish to gain. May I inquire what type of favor you are looking for, and I can tell you if that is within my capabilities.
Maybe just a referral for acquiring a possibly higher position in the city of Selderon Fion.
Now, he rereads your name and looks up at you and goes, "You've listed your name on every election ballot for the past 20 years. And you've never gotten more than 4 write-ins. 3 of them were suspiciously in the same handwriting."
Yes,
We're Solaris.
and your point.
I cannot assist you in recommendations or political gains within Selderon Fion. However, as my lord, my benefactor, would allow me to iterate to other people and individuals, I could possibly get you into some higher study points and positions inside of Deep Yard.
That sounds intriguing.
Would it be satisfactory?
I believe it would.
Very well. Then that is something I can promise you, upon completion, of course, of said job.
Very well.
Good.
Kothar kind of takes a large swig as if he's about to ask something and puts it down. So if we're going into business, you should let us know about the other people that were there as well. Not the ones you sent, but the creatures spoke of others there. And if you're having us compete against someone else, shouldn't we know of the other competition as well?
For the next leg of this journey, I will not be setting you against anybody else for now. Of course, once I
No.
file all the proper paperwork, my lord may establish that he needs to send a different group out investigating what I'm going to be conducting you all to investigate for me first.
He spoke of another group that wasn't yours.
I'm sorry?
He spoke of others that weren't yours. He called them champions.
Who?
This creature, the one that was on the other side of the portal.
Roll a deception check, Kothar.
Damn it.
I don't remember that.
16.
Alright. Should I use my new dice or my old dice?
New.
New ones? Alright, I like these ones.
The demon did speak about it, right?
Oh, he did. No, you are absolutely
Okay.
right. The
Just making
deception
sure.
is your interest in this.
Feigning ignorance.
Yep. Okay, my new dice are not that fantastic, so. But they're
Just have
pretty.
to get them. You get to get them set, you know?
They're pure white with blood flakes on them.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I want to get the ones from Death Saves.
Oh, those ones look great. But anyways, he eyes you up and goes, "That is not a organization I am familiar with, nor are they individuals that I am interested in dealing with. So, if you come across them, my recommendation is stay out of their way, as ignorance is typically more bliss than knowledge."
We probably won't have to deal with them because I think they stepped through the portal.
His eyes snap back to you. That makes no sense.
Ignorance. Who needs to worry about it, right?
He seems really contemplative right now. Like you immediately dropped him out of the current conversation and deep into thought. Well,
Did I break him?
I'm sorry? Oh. Nothing. I'm just being, I'm evaluating the situation. Now, what would you all value this task at?
What is the task? Specifically.
I need you to all go to the Balthask Wilds. Find out about the rumor of a different portal that appears to be open, and see if there's anything you can discern detail-wise about it. Of course, if it is open and creatures are falling through, inquire about different ways to shut it, or at least protect it until we can have the proper authorities show up and handle it. One downside to a bureaucratic system is the paperwork. It slows us down tremendously.
For the proper authority that we would have to wait for.
Depends. If what is coming through is unholy and unspiritual towards this plane of existence, then we will be sending out a few of our very own blades of light. However, if the individuals appear to be more archaic in design and we have portals we need to shut, we will be contacting the proper authorities within Deep Yard to handle that themselves, as their vast understanding of magic is far superior to that of Seldra and Fionn.
Blades. Those young, boisterous little men.
I'm sorry, are you being disrespectful to the protectors of our realm?
Oh, is that what they're called now?
I wouldn't go Thar.
Huh?
I
I'm just
wouldn't.
speaking truthfully.
I love the wild people of this area. It's very entertaining to watch them. Boys. It's not far off. Anyways, What do you think is a reasonable price for this mission?
Depends on how much danger we could possibly run into.
I don't know. It could be as easy as go down there, shake a few babies, kiss a few hands, and off you go.
How much are you willing to pay?
I've already listed my price.
A good negotiator never lists a number first.
I think pay up front would be important.
Pay up front would be
Helping us.
ill-advised.
How much
No. Taking at least to get us prepared for such a long travel.
Oh, of course. And the gold I just paid you would be more than ample enough to prepare yourselves.
How much was the first payment? One more time.
It came out to 300 gold in total. So 50 gold each.
Yeah, I'm 334, but I think that was after we broke down, because we sold stuff.
Yeah, there was the necklace helped a good bit with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's additional funds on top of
Yeah.
what they were paying.
Right,
So it was
right.
50 for an evening's work. Would I know how long it takes to get to the port and back?
Roll me a survival. Rowan, if you would like to participate in this, of course you can as well.
Okay.
Please.
Your expertise.
Yeah.
Traveling with an average individual, if it wasn't you, Rowan, would take 2 to 3 weeks. With a cart, add that to 3.5, 4 weeks. Because tending to the horses, giving them breaks, treating them humanely. However, anybody traveling with you through the wilderness moves at an exponential rate, meaning it should probably only take you 2 weeks to get there. Excuse me. Oh, that was not that good.
2 weeks average,
To get
3
there.
weeks normal. We $50 gold for a night's work. So
Well,
Yeah.
a night of hard work,
a night of hard work.
I would
of
value at
course.
50 gold, no problem. However, a night of travel, I would be more than happy to compensate your expenses and time as you value it, which is why a number would be appreciated. Of course, Solaris, what you've requested would be achievable.
And maybe 1,000 gold in total.
And a horse.
Roll a persuasion, Solaris.
With assistance?
And the horse was not helping.
Okay.
19, alright.
We got a horse.
A big horse.
I believe N's family is more than capable of supplying you with a cart, horse, and any of the supplies you need. It would be ill-advised for me to compensate you for said things outside of what they need compensation for, which N, as their lovely child, I believe you are more than capable of just procuring, correct?
That depends on the gold offer. But
I can spare 1,000 gold for this mission upon completion. However, up front, I'm only willing to hand you 100. My funds are dwindling currently, given the circumstance surrounding my recent endeavors, and I will have more as soon as I get back home. Unfortunately, this town does not have a bank in it for some reason. Uncivilized swine.
it's something we've been working on.
You really should achieve for it. It's a trade town. A bank would do tremendously well here.
It's the figuring out the loans with the amortization and what this ends up being, and kind of like has to like stop themselves from like.
Kothar and Rowan, you're both severely confused by the word bank. You have no idea what that is.
But so I'm sure my family would be willing to front us for some additional supplies, but I think the 100 gold up front, 10% retainer,
Seems more than reasonable.
seems reasonable to me.
Me as well.
I do not mind compensating well for good work, clearly. However, I do have one addendum to this job. Off the books. This one will not be noted. My name will be reasonably forgotten by each of you, please. Is this satisfactory?
Very well.
Good. He reaches once again into his purse and pulls out a small sack and tosses that one to you, Solaris, with 100 gold in it. Now, which school of practice would you rather me talk to the headmaster about?
I am a specialist in divination.
Is that the one that you wish to have a bit more knowledge about?
I do, yes.
Very well. I will be sure to contact them with a letter in my travels.
Much obliged.
Well, if you all don't mind, this room's about to start frizzing my hair, so I'm going to be taking my leave of this backwater town now. You all enjoy yourselves.
Speaking of letters, before you go, if you need to leave us communications, then this address will be attended all the time. You need not leave anything specific, simply something saying for us to contact you.
Roll a persuasion. He stops for a moment. This is going to come out of your overall funds. Reaches into their bag and pulls out a gray smooth stone and hands it to you, En. I am deducting 100 from your final payment. This is a sending stone. You can only communicate to one other. Its pair, mine. If you need to get in contact with me, you can do so. If I need to get in contact with you, I will do so.
Works for me.
I suggest you do your best not to lose it. It is worth more than looks around. Well, maybe not this place, but many of the others in this town. Proceeds to leave. So,
Could we
yes?
get one of those hunks of metal you were waving around earlier tonight?
Brick of gold.
No. It was you said it was a seal, something important. I don't know. It just looked like metal to me.
No, you cannot.
Probably gonna do much anyways. That's fine.
He pauses at the door and looks back at you again, suspiciously, Kothar, but kind of just shakes his head and walks out, closing the door firmly behind him, and you all hear his footsteps leaving far away.
Well,
He's a real swell chap, huh?
But pays well.
I'm happy to take his money.
so you said he was drow, right?
That is correct.
So does that mean that in this world they're not like typical D&D drow? Are there like typical D&D drow?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Roll me a history. We'll call it history again. See how much of this Solaris understands. As a baseline, this is what everybody, aside from Kothar, understands. The drow inside of Solemn are dwellers who prefer the dark. They have a natural affinity to darker things, however, they are more lawful inside of their interactions and dealings, and in general are treated with a level of mistrust because of their innate magical understanding and comprehension that goes beyond that of normal elves, aside from high elves. High elves are treated as prestigious instead because of their level of understanding of magic, the world, and everything surrounding and encompassing it. Solaris, there are two different types of dwellers within the Drow culture. Now, of course, this is just the stereotypes of it. There are many different types of dealings. There are the individuals who have a large amount of understanding of magic and how everything happens, and pursues life with a lot of ambition. In general, all Drow are incredibly ambitious. Their makeup in their own secluded societies is very matriarchal. And then there's the other group of individuals, which are religious fanatics of sorts. Those are the ones who live underground. They are good people. They are lawful good people, but they are fanatical about their religion, believing that they need to protect this world from something. It's kind of ridiculous, and most people ignore it. But they are also an expansion past just normal Drow. When they've lived the majority of their lives underground, they've evolved into a different type of being called Shadarkai.
All right.
Inside of Solemn, I've intertwined the two races.
Okay. Understood.
Kothar, your understanding. Drow are people, they're pretty cool. Some of them are a bit uptight, but I mean, who isn't sometimes? That guy's really uptight.
Very
Just
sure he'll get an eyeful once he fully reads my paperwork.
What the hell is this? God damn.
Probably gonna think I'm just fucking with him.
And so while all of that's been going on, and has been counting out the coin and passing it around.
Yep. It is all in position.
So
he gave us 100 up front, right?
So your original payment is 600 gold, or 300 gold that is divvied up between all of you. Out of the now 900 that you're making instead of 1,000, he gave you 100 up front. However you wish to divvy that up is completely up to you. He deducted the other 100 for the sending stone. Who is going to hold on to it? Because whoever has it, be sure to add it to your character sheet.
I vote in.
And he can hold on to it.
Okay.
N is the safest one in the party, because Gabriel will die for them.
The squishy is protected.
The Pally Pal protect.
Yes.
So Lars, you didn't want me to speak about the Blades of Light. Why not?
It's a very touchy subject, especially among the council. They very much take pride in the blades.
Really?
I didn't want to tick him off too much.
Didn't know that was such a touchy subject. Yeah.
Well, if you speak bad about them.
You described them perfectly. I think the issue that Solaris is bringing up is that you perhaps put too fine of a touch on it.
Well, I mean, there's also the...
I do not disagree.
He spoke of only them. There's also the Slayers as well.
Slayers?
Yes, up in the north. Northwest to be exact.
I know anything.
They were...
Ever heard that before?
Roll history. And you can participate in this as well, because Bard. All right, damn.
Let me see if I need to.
Yeah. I mean...
Yeah, no, I mean...
All right. Well, and Slayers... You remember old bedtime stories about heroes that were heroes for being heroes. No other reason. It's long told over and over again. Individuals who sought to protect this world from devastation without needing the recognition that the Blades of Light seems to adore so very much, or without the need of worshipping so truly towards their particular religion. They were referred to as the Slayers. Apparently, they had a guild of them once upon a time ago. They don't exist anymore. Apparently, it was disbanded, attacked, something. You don't really know. Solaris, I'm going to give you a handout.
They could be
Awesome.
quite useful. They could be quite useful, actually.
They could have been quite useful. They've passed into story. Oh, even the stories themselves are old.
Now, Solaris, what I just sent to you, this is the history as it was known 800 years ago.
I don't see it.
Past in history.
It is linked inside of towns and organizations.
Ah.
Yes. For things like that, you will have a particular handout at your disposal.
Gotcha.
I should probably link Balthask in the wilds, but I'll do that.
Jiro,
Yeah.
were Slayers previous to...
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. They were in the beginning of
Yep,
the
yep.
written history of Solemn.
Yep, previous to the others. Yeah.
So yes. If you want to iterate any of this information aloud, I'd be more than happy to do it, and then we can link it to everybody so the class can read.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
I will explain my knowledge of them.
Sure. Everybody else, you can see the handout as well, and as you can see from this, the territory is considered the Claimstead territory. It was a population of 500 citizens. However, the Slayers Guild itself was much smaller than that. That was just the small original town of daring men and women willing to risk the constant dangers from beasts commonly found in that territory. Once they started growing in numbers, the small village became a guild, home to many of the land's strongest adventurers and up-and-coming adventurers. Recently, the guild, and this is recently for 800 years ago, the guild was attacked and most of the members were killed. Except for that exclusion, which is the people of interest, because you got a 24. As a point of order, the first king was Kenway. The first king of all of this plane of existence was Kenway. And he left it to his daughter, who then left it to Croston. They were both humans.
And this is Croston Cross?
Croston Cross is his formal name.
Mm.
One that we learned about at DuPont.
Correct.
Yep.
Who's also
The most progressive king that the first real king is what many people refer to him as.
And he also developed the Council of Many.
Yes, he did.
Okay. Tying those things together.
It's a big world.
All right. So yeah, I divulged that information, and what shall we do next? Is your father home?
He is, with company, it seems, but what's a couple more?
Yes.
A few more adding on to a party wouldn't be a problem. I'm sure we have rooms available for everyone if it'll save everyone a time at the end having to pay.
That would help, for sure. If your father is fine with that.
Well, I would say that I'm the eldest son, but I'm not. I'm the second, but my guests are welcome no matter what. So if I invite you in, everyone is welcome.
Very well.
Point of order. Solaris, give me a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Nope.
Oof.
You acknowledge the question and turn your head, and as you turn it, you watch as a large cake flies across the room and slaps you in the face. Followed by two... and you immediately recognize the cackle of your brothers.
Come out, you two.
They both wander out a little bit. Hey, Ann.
Speaking of being the second son, these two are older than me, but such children. And In walks over and
Me? I would never. Yeah, we're definitely way more mature than you.
In will walk over and kneels and then like holds up one of their hands that has the icing all over it.
It's very delicious cake. It's like a tangy, lemony flavor and a vanilla based frosting. It's very good. Very good.
These are my siblings.
Hi.
This is Ilya and Vassus.
Ilya just waves. Vastus gives you a formal bow. Way too formal of a bow. Very emphasized.
Which one of you was the one that threw that?
They both point at each other.
Can I roll insight?
Roll a perception check first. Ilya's hand has frosting like on the fingertip that they are pointing with.
I just do a little motion and I cast reduce on her.
Ooh. Ilya is brother, correct?
Ilya's the sister.
Sister. Okay, good.
Yes.
Right, okay.
What is this? Wisdom? No, it's not wisdom. It's charisma or con.
Enlarge, reduce, I'll tag it.
Con. Okay, yeah, they definitely fail, and you watch as
Because they're like 6.
the child turns into a toddler size and goes, "Hey, what the hell?"
You know what father would say about that language.
What, you say hell all the time?
That's because I'm older.
I thought it was because, you're related to hell. I wish I was related to hell.
No, you're fine as is, except that you're tiny.
Hey! Runs over to you, Solaris, and tries kicking at your leg, but in the reduced form, there's nothing there. It's just...
I just kind of
Can you turn her back? I was supposed to take her to bed, but she wanted to get a couple of berries. The brother,
Yes.
who seems clearly a little bit more mature, still snickering and laughing, though.
Alright. Yeah, I kind of just dispel it, and I'm like...
She crosses her arms, staring at you.
I can play pranks, too.
And I don't like your new friends.
Well, if you'd behave around them, maybe they would be nice to you.
Your brother walks over to Gabriel and just, hey, do anything cool today? Gabriel just looks down at him. I broke up a fight. Whoa! What was happening? It was what was it? It was, were they big? Bigger than you. Wow. Must have been so cool. Definitely has a bit of admiration towards him. But they both gather their things and goes, yeah, Dad's winding down for the night, but many of the guests seem to have gone into the streets everywhere. We're just making sure the place was locked up. We saw the light on.
Yeah, well, we decided that, after the event to come back and relax for a bit. I think that we might end up going to bed soon. So you two better get on in before then. You know about quiet hours.
Yes, we know. We were just... It was a boring festival today.
Hmm.
And you watch as Ilya like turns towards the door and starts walking, stops, looks at Kothar, and just like stretches their head all the way back, staring pointedly.
Just look straight down. Hello?
Hi?
How old are you?
32? Looks at you, En. 32?
No, you're in your 40s now, remember?
Oh, 40! Yeah.
Elves and your cute birthing rates. I don't know, aging rates.
Birthing rates.
Aging rates.
No, we don't do that yet. Just shakes her head and like keeps staring and goes, "You're really big."
You're very short.
No, I'm reasonably sized for my age. Only 2
Indeed.
centimeters shorter than I should
Just-
be.
just
She starts like
taps her on the head.
scoffing and just like walks out like, "No, not that goddamn red people having more fun. Can't I be cool colors?" And just slams the door behind her.
Redheads, and I say that and is a redhead, so
And Kothar
perfect.
has a red head.
yeah.
I like the red, like, dreadish things.
Yeah,
Like spikes. They look like kind of dreadlock-ish things.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Your grooves.
Yeah, the grooves.
So, all of you leave the greenhouse, locking up a little bit. Gabriel offers to sleep out here where he's a bit more comfortable. He's not so terribly comfortable indoors, so it's not it's a typical request.
And In would show Solaris to where he could wash up.
And
I've-
inside,
And I'm
of-
sorry about Ilya. She's a character.
Yes, well, younglings will be younglings.
Of course.
Siblings are quite charming.
Thank you. I've only
Runs
ever
in the
known them
family, I
that
see.
I've only ever known them really at that age, so it's interesting.
So, walking through the manor, it's very clear that a rambunctious party happened inside of this estate. There are glasses all over the place, broken glass all over the place, little bits of fabric and thrown colored papers all over the establishment. You do see that somebody is passed out over a love seat with their ass sticking straight in the air, just all the way over, and they're snoring incredibly loudly. And as you're walking through, you all see a fairly aged looking elf, not quite to the point where he appears old, but definitely vastly more mature than many other elves appear in this continent. He's walking about, currently gathering a few little bits of the trash and throwing it into a can, and he has reading glasses that seem to be slipping off his nose every so often, and when you all approach, he stops and goes, "Oh, En. Nice
Yes,
to
Father.
see you. Come here. He goes over and gives you a big hug. You smell the bourbon, like, licking off of his skin, but he rarely gets the opportunity to drink as he wishes, and this is a nice little warming hug. He stops and turns around and goes, "Oh, it would appear we have a few guests at our disposal. Well, welcome to our fine estate here. I hope you can all enjoy your..." Looks at you, Kothar, blinks a couple of times, and goes, "My God, are those Outlander markings?"
Yes, they're very old.
That is, he walks over and starts like investigating, like just like touching against your markings, tattoos, scars, and like reading. He's like, "Oh wow, that appears to be a large scimitar wound. How deep did that go? 4 inches? 5?
Shattered a rib or two.
Oh, that is vastly. Oh, that's a powerful strike from it." And just like slaps you on your pecs and goes, "You are solid as a. That is fantastic. And I like this one."
He's interesting. Got a lot of stories.
Kothar, this is the first person who's treated you just like with fascination and admiration. He's not trying to be like an asshole. He just seems purely interested in who and what you are on like a personalized level. It's odd. You haven't encountered something like that in a long time. Aside from N.
Yeah, thank you for letting us into your home.
Oh, not at all. Never a problem. I know in places like this, it might be difficult for, people of your complexion to find a place where you find yourselves comfortable, but any person who comes through this town is more than welcome into my home, as long as they don't try stealing from me again. Right, En?
Right. Oh man, do you remember whenever those crystal glasses, the singing ones, went missing and we kept hearing that ringing for a month?
We found out that your sister hid it in the attic from us and inside of the walls, yes.
Yeah.
Little brat, I swear, one of these days, I'm going to sit her down and have a talk.
You say that every time.
I mean, it's another day. But anyways, everybody, welcome to my, Rowan, isn't it? Looks at you.
Yeah.
I've seen you around town a few times, but I've never actually had the pleasure. It's very nice to meet you. I'm the individual who bought the 14 bear pelts back when we had that bit of a overpopulation problem.
Oh, yeah. Nice to meet you too.
It's good. Walks over, shakes your hand. Welcome. So, what were all of you up to tonight? And
I don't know how much of it you would believe.
Typically when you're speaking very little, but I always listen.
Well, we were hired to take care of a little something with the tree.
Oh.
And that's led to some more work, and so it seems that, well, depending on how quickly we can rest up and prepare, we might be heading out again in about a week.
A week? You just got back, though.
I know, and it's been a long time, but it's not too far, and
your heart wanders. I'm not gonna tell you where to be. You do you. You do you. And stops and like realizes for a moment that Solaris, you've been standing there very formally, goes, "You're from Seldaran, aren't you?"
That is correct, sir. You have a keen mind.
Yes. Well, in this territory, we speak up. He goes over and like gives you a like very informal hug, just like fully grabbing you and like, so look at you. That is, you have to loosen up a little.
It's very nice to meet you, and I kind of give an awkward bow.
He needs to loosen up a lot.
Living out in the wilds will kind of take the edge off the manners a little bit.
Oh, yes, it will. Yes, it will. Well, anyways, you know where the guest rooms are, and I'm just gonna continue tidying up down here. You said you're leaving. Is there any preparations you need made, and anything I need to gather for you, or anything at all?
Well, you know, I usually walk to take my own time, but I think what we're looking at is something that might require a little bit more speed. So if we could loan out some of the horses, perhaps that would be beneficial. I don't know what kind of trading expeditions you have upcoming, but
I'll look into it. If there's anything we can do to better assist you, I'd be more than happy to get it set up.
I appreciate that.
All of you, welcome to my home. Enjoy yourselves. The liquor cabinet is fully available to whoever wishes. The cigars are off limits, though.
Cigars?
Yes. It's this tightly woven leaf with this tobacco inside of it. It's we add a little of our own spice, gives Anne a wink, and it makes it, amply more effective.
Well, I'll pull out a pipe or two.
Fantastic. Well, you all take care. Goodbye. Continues just cleaning up the room. You all see very clearly where N gets their personality from.
Charm definitely runs in the family.
Family, for sure.
We try. Well, I'm usually a very very much a night owl. I don't know about the rest of you, so I'm fine to stay up for some more time. But if anyone is ready for sleep, I can show them where the rooms are.
I've slept for far long enough. I think I'd like to enjoy a night or two.
What time is it?
Well, the tree hit its apex around midnight. You all stayed down there another hour and a half, and then you took the 3-hour travel time to get back. So we're looking at close to 5 a.m.
I'm definitely going to sleep.
Me too.
All right. Well, right this way then, and we'll take you down one of the hallways, and each room is very it's not crowded with things, but it's a lot of texture. So there's a lot of like carpets like stacked over each other with draperies off the beds, and it's a very like sensory heavy kind of experience. It's kind of what you would think of as it's not very crowded with items, but it has a lot of those kind of like cozy kind of feelings to it.
Very
All right.
simple, but very, well, simple's not the right word. It's homely. It's
Homely.
Each room feels like it was personalized to make it feel more, at home for people.
Well, thank you for letting us stay here.
Of course.
See you all in the morning.
Well, later morning, but
Yes.
and we do have a cook who comes in the mornings. So there will be breakfast ready for whenever you wake. Tea, coffee, whatever you'd like. Just come down, help yourself. And if you wish to go on in the morning, that's fine as well. But I had hoped perhaps we could speak sometime in the morning about our plans as a group.
Yes. I think that's important.
I agree.
I'll be back here in the morning for sure.
All right. Well, good night.
Good night, everybody.
So,
Good night.
Kothar leaves. Solaris, Rowan, and you all find sleep fairly quickly. Solaris,
Before I go to bed,
yeah.
For Solaris, as soon as he closes the door, he kind of listens for everyone to go about, and then he takes a deep breath, takes his backpack off, and then takes the book that he wrapped in a bit of parchment, the black book, and he goes and kind of like sets it down in the middle of the floor, slowly unravels it, and then he kind of stares at it for like 20-30 seconds, and he just says, "Hello?"
Speak outwards into the world, hoping that there might be any form of anchoring or communication between you and this object, but after several pausing moments go by, nothing.
I open it. Is there any text, or is it still blank?
Still blank.
We made a deal, but I would like to know more. I'll be here. And he kind of like sets it up on, if there's a table in the room, he just sets it there.
There's a little writing desk. I assume N knows enough about each of your personalities to find an area that would be reasonable for you.
Of course, my charisma's through the roof.
Yep, yeah. Hospitality
The
is a
perfect
charisma-based
host.
skill. So,
And I would like to, in the blank pages, use my ritual casting of illusory text to basically like make it seem like a general text of what the book was first about when I started reading into it. Just kind of like make it a general like book of secrets and kind of just like make it seem like it's just something that's not very it's not something that you need to pay much mind to, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
okay.
I'm trying to just kind of like make it seem like a book.
So like a
if that
diary of
makes any
sorts.
sense. Yeah.
Roll me a charisma saving throw. Hmm.
13.
So, you begin writing. Sorry, wrong song. That. There it is. Oh, that's not it either. I apologize for this. I have to reorganize everything, apparently.
Is it Kesha?
No.
Oh.
Oh, I can
Creepy
hear the
one.
feedback from you.
Oh. No.
So, you begin writing, and your hand seems to be flowing very easily, copying down whatever script you need to copy down. However, you kind of like pause for a moment to let out a big yawn, and as you do, your hand just keeps writing, and your attention snaps down to it, and you don't understand what it is you're writing, but you're continuing to write it. It's kind of acting out of its own volition. What languages do you understand, Solaris?
I understand Celestial, Common, Draconic, Dwarvish, and Elvish.
You understand the script. It's relative to an elven script. However, you don't understand the language that it is that you're writing in right now. Seems to be scribing through the book very quickly, and it kind of gives you a bit of a headache when you try focusing on what you're doing. Do you let it keep writing, or do you stop?
Yes, I'm kind of weirded out by it, but I let it happen.
You continue writing for 5, 6, 7 pages, and you feel that presence in your mind that previously invoked through you, and it pushes against you, and you kind of welcome it this time instead of being more resilient against it. And you hear in the back of your mind, secrets. What is the purpose of a secret?
Secrets can be used against you. But, well, sorry, let me start over. I didn't say that.
All right.
Knowledge can be used against you. Certain personal things can be used against you. Secrets can be very useful.
So what if somebody has a secret? What does that mean?
It means they have something they know that others don't.
then go find your secrets. And immediately your hand stops writing and you recoil backwards, and it feels tense. Your wrist almost has that like locked, jammed little tension inside of it. You're not sure what was happening, but looking down at the illusionary script that coincide on top, you still can't read it, but you wrote about 8 pages in total.
I close it. I rewrap it in the parchment.
One moment.
Okay.
You close it. It has a name on the front. The name is written in Celestial. Gavin. Gavin.
Okay.
It's written as if the person who owned this book, or owns this book, is Gavin.
Okay. I take note mentally and close the book, or wrap it. And I just kind of leave it sitting on the desk. And I go to bed.
Everybody else, you went to sleep way faster than he did. It was very comfy rooms, very nice establishment. You can turn that music off now. So, morning comes around. Solaris, you are the first person awake in this entire household.
Yep.
However, I believe during the evening, Kothar, you went to the only location that you know inside this town. Getting over to... I'm sorry?
Oh, yeah.
Getting over to the building, you see the boarded up walls, the boarded up windows, and the large hunk of wood barring the building shut. The unkept ground around it seems unloved and untended to.
He just kind of kneels down and kind of brushes around through, I'm guessing, what is broken plants and just everything, and just kind of says out loud, so this is what you fall into. Are the boards big enough that I can get through? I have to move them.
You're big enough to move them.
Okay, so I have to move them. Yeah.
Yeah. You can easily grab and shimmy, and comes off very easily. Bringing it to the ground and moving it over, and kind of like crawling inside where you originally know the large pane glass windows existed, but currently do not. Getting in there, you see 3 large rows of pews on either side of the building, kind of pushed backwards and condensed into their own locations. And when you look around, you notice 2 individuals are inside this building. Both of them are sitting closer to the altar. There's a small little fire in a hearth that persists in this location, and both of them seem to be like hunkered against it and trying to find a little bit of warmth in this building. Their bedrolls are rolled out very plainly in this area, and they seem to have some type of rodent cooking on a stick. They both stare at you wide-eyed.
You keep me asleep for this long, and I wake and no one's there. I'm there to answer any questions. He's actually looking angry right now.
The 2 individuals look at themselves and kind of like, they grab the rodent and start heading away.
Yeah, he's just walking straight towards the altar. Just eyes like fixed. I'm assuming there's no more like symbolism of...
Roll a perception check.
Perception. 19.
You look down at the floor leading up to the altar, and emblazoned in a huge emblem graved into the stonework of this building is a perfect circle that has the symbology attached to it.
So I'm not gonna yell where I am right now, but Kotar's just gonna kind of like close his eyes and just yell, "Come out, you silvery serpent." I know you're hiding. Why is it you do not answer me? And I'm also going to use a rage,
All right.
which is my last one of the night.
When you enter into that angered state, that focused, zealot state that you possess inside of yourself, you see the room becomes a bit more clear, even to your dark vision. The pews themselves, well, it becomes as if you have dark vision.
Okay.
The pews themselves clean very quickly, and you see the symbol in the center of the room, lined in that very shiny, almost white-like glow, fully encompassing it. And you hear from up above you, your attention immediately snaps, where you see there is a very, very old dragonborn sitting on top of the pews. His scales seem to be graying, though they are very clearly silver or some other type color in make. Seems to just be rocking on the pew and looks down at you, wearing long blue and silver robes flowing all the way down to his ankle and a single quarterstaff in his hands. Why do you need to come here and be so reactionary?
Why is it they've forgotten everything?
Turns
As if
and
history has changed?
he cocks his head and he kind of stands, and you hear the bones and scales shifting in his body very uncomfortably as he starts climbing his way down the side and walks up to you, barely in his hunkered over state, coming up to your chest. Like, kind of looks up, and you notice his eyes are completely grayed over, no longer having any realistic purpose inside of them. And he starts looking.
Do I feel a similar presence to...
You feel no particular presence from this individual.
Who are you, old man?
Name's, Gontar. I'm apparently the person you're mad at right now.
Not mad at you.
He reaches his scaly hand up and just, like, touches your shoulder. And you feel a little bit of, like, a spark against your skin. And he pulls back and goes, "Wait, are they back? Are you all back?" He drops the quarterstaff and kind of, like, leans in towards you, trying to grab onto your arms.
I'm gonna, like, grab him.
And he's, like, squeezing as hard as his very old, very thin. You look as the sleeve drops down. It's so incredibly tiny. You believe you could wrap your hand around his forearm and link up to your second knuckle if you really tried. And he's just holding and squeezing and goes, "Are you all back?
I'm going to sit him down. Like a pew.
We've waited so long. Are you... You're back? Back? Oh, thank him so much. Oh.
I don't know where the others are, old man.
Well, you're here. You're going to help us. You're going to make it better. It's going to be better. Thank him so much. Thank you. And he kind of like drops to the symbol and begins kissing it on the ground.
Don't do that.
Oh, I never gave up. Everyone else, they've all abandoned him. I knew it would happen. My father knew it would happen. His father. We all knew. We knew that you would be back. We wouldn't give up.
How long have we been gone? When was the last time?
The last that we know, it was 600-700 years. Generations ago. We knew it was far between, but people stopped believing. They stopped understanding. I knew it. You didn't forget.
Where did he go?
His face becomes much more solemn when you ask that question. The new world has new gods they aspire to, they want. And with the new gods, the old ones are dwindling, losing their power and losing their worship. So few of us to still worship. His power has been eclipsed by others. But I never stopped. I knew it. I knew he would protect us and see us to the better future, as he always has.
My group is not for a better future. I've killed many who are deserving, and many who are not. And we had a purpose. Maybe because we weren't called for that long time, was for a reason.
We tried. My grandfather tried. He was the speaker for this temple. He reached out, he called upon you, and he said that there was no answer. The rest of the congregation didn't understand that if you didn't answer, that means something's wrong. We tried finding you, but we couldn't find where you rested. He talked to the other ones, the other worships, and they couldn't find you. Couldn't find him. Everybody stopped. They just stopped believing in him. Believing in his sanctuary. If you're here now, that means there's a reason.
Possibly. This world has changed, though.
As
the Blades are now in charge.
They are.
I remember when they were new and ambitious.
The Blades are the ones who lead all worship on this realm, mostly. They encourage the younger generations
into their beliefs and they stopped teaching that of the old ones. They stopped teaching of our Lord and his sister Yidris. Was that you tonight?
Me and others.
There's more.
I wouldn't have. People of this time.
You see in his deep complexion, his very old skin, that this individual seemed to be on the verge of giving up his faith, his hope in whatever it is that you are supposed to represent and that your group is supposed to do. But you see, with every word you speak, it just almost revitalizes him, re-strengthens him. You're used to this reaction, but nowhere near this deep of a reaction.
Yes.
He seems to be gleaming you as the only source of hope he has.
There are others.
Oh, thank him. I'm sorry for the mess.
It's fine.
I lost the broom about 10 years ago. I can't seem to find it.
Here. Maybe this will help. I'm gonna give 50 gold and just sit it in a sack next to me. Clean up the place a bit, yeah?
Of course. If
I know it's not much.
I will.
And he reaches, hearing the jingle, and starts like feeling it in his hands. And
I'll do what I can. I'll make it represent him again. Are you?
he listens for a few moments.
You're the youngest, aren't you?
Youngest of?
Of the protectors, the champions. You're the youngest, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad
The
that
last.
you're back. What? What'd you say?
I said one of the last.
But you're still here. Means we can do this. We will do this.
He's gonna get up. You do your part, old man. Take care of this
He
decrepit den.
stands alongside you and gives you a modest bow, not leaning too far, but slight, and just reaches and
A bow of the head, kind of like a quick one, just
yeah.
as a courtesy.
He reaches and grabs your shoulder and squeezes.
The scaled savior still smiles upon us. We just need more to listen and hear him more clearly. We will get more.
If you know of any good people that spread words, someone who's good at spreading stuff like that, that might help.
There's an
I'll look for
interesting
the others.
individual. I hear their name around town constantly. Their name is N, I believe.
Oh yeah, charming
Yes.
person.
So I hear, talkative.
That's very, very nice. Very good at what they do.
I'll see if I can't talk to them.
How about I talk to them?
Of course.
Bows again.
Please stop. Don't. You don't need to do that to me.
Of course.
Just smiles. He
But
seems
I have
marginally stronger. Just by standing around you.
I have other needs to attend to, old man. Take care of the place.
Of course.
If I don't see you again, take care of yourself.
We'll see each other.
Quite possibly.
He continues smiling in your general direction.
And I head to a house of favors, and that's my night.
All right. Deduct 10 gold for knightly favors.
I'll deduct 20 gold because I'm going to get one of each sex.
Very well. Very well. One
Ian's
with,
corrupting everyone.
yes,
Oh,
one
please,
with and one
don't.
without. Anybody from Philly understands the joke. Alrighty, so you go ahead and have your evening of respite, and everybody else does as well. And I think this is a reasonable place for us to take a break. Alright, so we'll be right back. Everybody, hold tight. And we are back. Sorry about that quick little hiatus. I needed to chop myself up some pepperonis, and yeah, it's a good little snack. Sliced pepperoni is so much cheaper when you slice it your damn self. I love it. And more satisfying, because then you don't have to grab like 4 of them at once to feel like you're actually eating something.
True.
You can just eat like 1. Done. But anyways, morning comes around. Solaris, you are awake hours before anybody else because of your elven ancestry, though you are still probably very tired and your wrist still hurts a bit. Just feels wrong right now. Feels like probably like one of your students feels after they mishap with one of their castings and you make them rescribe their spell 50 times.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I'd say that Solaris is in the greenhouse, just like reading a book when everyone wakes up.
you sneak in there easily and you hear Gabriel lying in there, kind of snoring a little bit. Somewhere in here. No idea where.
I kind of just find a seat, probably as close to the orchids as I could, and then just read. Study my spellbook and such.
While you're doing this, about an hour into your studies, you hear a good morning. En's father approaches and sits right beside you, doesn't ask, just sits down.
Good morning.
Did you trance well?
I did.
Good.
Yes. The past couple of days have been pretty eventful. Lots of dreams as well.
Really?
Yes.
He looks you up and down, and the two of you are about the same age, give or take 50 to 100 years. For elves, that's close.
Yeah.
We were born within the same millennia.
Yeah.
We're practically Irish twins. He keeps sitting there, and you see he pulls out a little spray bottle and just starts misting a few of the flowers. And it's so nice. You know, I do miss Seldarin sometimes. The gardens there were so beautiful.
Did you live there?
Oh, 100 years or so.
It is quite a beautiful place.
Yes. I mean, I was born here, of course, but went visited for a long period of time. My father believed me to be a scholarly boy. It wasn't in the cards for me. Magic never seemed too, important to me.
It's not for everyone.
I did learn a trick or two. He waves his hand and you see magic appear between them with a rainbow. I learned that one. It's great for parties.
Magic is magic. What what is your expertise? Have you, besides growing things, has this been your whole life?
Well, yes. Growing
Yeah.
plants, growing community, and growing relationships, and more of a international tradesman, but more or less I deal in non-tangible trade, more... How do I put this? I like to build relationships and build them up as best as I can and facilitate the dealings between other individuals more than my direct dealings myself. Of course, I represent a number of different organizations and do trading as well, but it's mostly I'm the face. Nice conversation, a nice homebrewed cup of tea. He hands you a little tea. That one is a good blackberry with a ginseng blend over top. Looking at you, I thought half a scoop of sugar and a dash of cream would be reasonable. Was I right?
It's reasonable.
How close was he to your order?
It's just fine. Thank you. Solaris usually, like he does like a little bit of sugar sometimes, but he usually drinks it like pretty clear, like no cream or anything. But yeah, he says this is just fine. Thank you.
You take a drink of it, and as you sip, you sense a deep bitterness that the cream kind of coalesces in the back of and sweetens it and lightens it to the point where it's fruitful compared to almost a dark blended coffee type of bitterness that the blackberry previously would have had. Shockingly, it's a very good tea. Blackberry is known for its sharp, bitter edges with the sweetness in it, but the blend seems to make it a slight bitter and then sweetness.
This is quite delicious.
Well, I grew it myself.
It is also well balanced, how do you say?
You know why I grow blackberries?
Why is that?
Because you can make it taste like anything. You can adjust it, change it. If you add a little bit too much cream, there's no bitterness at all. And that entices the people like my dearest N. All sugar, all sweet. But if you know the proper balancing, say a slight mix of sugar, you can cut through to somebody who's more used to a balanced diet. Someone with a bit more pedigree in the food that they eat. A noble individual, or somebody who views themselves as a higher class. Gestures to your cup. And of course, if you really hate somebody, you just give it to them black. I've tested it on the pigs. They won't even drink it. But it's fun watching people try.
Absolutely. Well, I like your mindset.
Thank you. I've grown it over many years. So,
I much enjoy your tea and your conversation. Hopefully, we can have more in the future.
oh, I'm always happy to have conversations. The kids are already going to their classes, and for some reason, just continues to rest all day. Must be the delusion between Elvish and non. Comes with perks and comes with downsides, so I'm used to having a few hours of quiet in the morning.
Yes, I agree. I very much like this opportunity.
Oh, good.
I haven't spent much time traveling or working with others much, so this is new.
Oh,
I I appreciate the alone time with my books.
Well, if I'm intruding right now, I'd be more than happy to leave you be.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's good to speak with someone elven, and someone with a keen mind such as yours, even though it may not be studious, as you put it, but still very intelligent, if I say so myself.
Well, I hope you do. I certainly do.
Well,
So what is it pressing on your mind? My job is to read people.
yes. Well, you see, I found something that's very interesting. That could be very dangerous. A book that may hold certain secrets.
That sounds
Certain-
like a bit of a deep yard conversation, correct?
Yes, I plan on finding someone who may be able to help understand this deeper, but at the same time, I am careful with how much information I divulge about this. I feel if it does end up in the wrong hands, it could be bad.
Fascinating. I have to admit, you've piqued my interest. I love a good story, a good tale. May I see it? I mean, information is only as powerful as the individual who's reading from it, and I believe I've already expressed the limitations of my potential power.
Do I know? I couldn't read what I was automatically writing in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Do I know what language it is?
It's an
No.
old language. This is something you would
well-
not have been taught.
Okay. I slowly pull the book out. I unravel it. And I show it to him.
And he notices like the slight flinching in your wrist, and he as you're unraveling it, just walks over a few paces and clips the edge of a cactus-looking plant and brings it over to you. Rub that against your wrist. It soothes most muscle wounds and tensions.
Well, thank you. I'll trade you
Thank you.
if you'd like. Look. Can you read it? Because I can't.
Yes, it's the Forgotten Words.
Forgotten words.
Mm-hmm. I believe they call it Sylvan. It's the old script. When the elves first came here to Solomon, they still spoke that language, and well, my father was very persistent in making sure that I understood it. Do you mind if I read it? I don't want to intrude. I'm just...
Yes. Read it out loud.
All right. He opens the page, and it seems to be a recounted diary of sorts. The individual who's written on the page is Gavin, recounting it in this language. Gavin is a very archaically experienced individual, as it would appear from the way that he uses words that this individual and his father seems incapable of fully pronouncing without your assistance. saying very ostentatious magical terminologies and everything like that. And it expresses a ley line, a connection between different points inside of Solomon. The ley line is laid as a net of sorts that does not allow magic to flow through it as freely as it should, but instead limits how much can cross at any given time, as well as the individuals who house magic within them and stopping their ability to cross. Now, at each of these ley lines, he goes on to read that Gavin has been researching their specific locations and convincing some fellows and some worshippers of different entities that all seem odd to you. You haven't heard many of their names in any of your teachings, and you are proficient in religion, correct?
In religion, no.
Okay, well, it shows. You probably should have studied more in religion, but the different terminologies and names that he's dropping all seem absent on you as he does. The individual is about to roll a history check. Okay. They don't seem to understand either. Not very much. Well, it appears this Gavin fellow was interested in these ley lines, and... would you look at that? Points at the end of the page, which you still can't read. He goes, that's here. Well, before here was here, of course. Before it was Umbridge.
You're saying that one of these ley lines is here? In Umbridge?
Oh, I'm not, he is. I'm just saying what they're saying. That's so fascinating. Ley lines. Huh. Closes the book and hands it back to you.
Interesting. Thank you.
No problem. I like a good story.
Okay. Well,
I'll tell you what, though, if you want to keep that information private, I'd be wary about expressing it too much to N. They seem to have looser lips in times of questioning.
I will be mindful, thank you.
Of course. But anyways, the cook is probably done with our meal. If you need a bit longer to keep studying, just let me know, and I'll tell him to keep it warm.
Alright, I'll be in a minute, thank you.
He nods, and as he's walking away, you notice he plucks one of those same blackberries and just eats it as is. So?
I pick one of the orchids, and I kind of just, like, wrap it up, put it in my pack.
Very well.
Alright,
So?
I go have breakfast.
As Solaris is finishing up their meal, Rowan and Gabriel, the three of you are waking up. Kothar, how long did you stay awake?
Till whenever I fell asleep.
So,
know,
a few hours?
Yeah, probably a few hours.
Alrighty, so you'll be getting there eventually. But the three of you are waking up and going downstairs, and you smell your one of your favorite dishes, Belgium waffles with some nice cream on top and fresh strawberries.
And there's been a wardrobe change.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Because Inn is going to take this week to dress as frivolously as possible before having to wear actual practical clothing. Inn would come downstairs, and it's like a long tunic, but it's backless with the fabric bunching just around the waist. And it's long. with short sleeves. So wearing that, everyone would be able to see that there's raised ridges over their spine. Not anything almost like nothing like scales, but just extra bony in those areas. And their hair is pulled back into a braid that's pulled up almost like a faux hawk, just built up in the middle. So from where the group met them mainly wearing something that would be much more masculine in clothing, this is much more of a feminine look.
So
Solaris stares a little bit.
your father walks over and gives you a kiss on the cheek. Good morning, love. How are you? Did you sleep well?
Very well. Yesterday was a very long day.
Well, good. I'm glad that you got to rest. Hey, you need to get more elven friends. I love having conversations in the morning.
Well, I should have gone to bed sooner, but I'm glad you had a good talk. I know sometimes it's hard having someone who has that kind of perspective.
Well, I did instruct our chef to make you your favorite. Freshly squeezed passion fruit, of course.
Of course.
Solaris, looking at this meal, in Salderon, a meal like this would run somebody like 2 silver, and they have passion fruit accessible. To import it all the way here, it's a pretty price.
Wow.
Rowan, do you join everyone else for breakfast?
Yeah, I do.
All right. You walk down and he smiles and goes, welcome. I wasn't sure exactly what your forte of eatery would be, so I had them construct you a lovely vegetarian option, as well as some naturally raised pork bacon and belly as well, if you are interested in either.
Great, thank you. And Rowan takes the vegetarian option.
Good morning.
Good morning, Solaris.
He looks down at his pocket watch. Oh, I have a meeting I have to go off to. You all have a fantastic breakfast. Looks at UN, who's probably already shoving the food in your face, just gives you another kiss on the forehead and runs out.
Solaris snaps his fingers and brings Thule out of his pocket dimension. And he kind of pets him a little bit and says, sorry I kept you in there for so long, buddy. And I kind of feed him a little bit.
They enjoyed the food. He enjoys the food.
Okay.
Was everyone comfortable last night? I hope everyone enjoyed their night.
Yeah, the bed was super comfortable. I was out within like 2 seconds.
That's exactly what I want to hear. That's we spent about 2 or 3 months just making sure that the bed makers got it just right.
That's a long time, but it was worth it.
Oh, I'm also really the only one in the house who sleeps. So it was kind of up to me, and we host parties a lot. So I wanted to be sure that everyone was comfortable.
Well, thank you. It's very kind of you, Em.
I appreciate that. It's, you know, as you can tell from my father, hospitality is something my family takes to heart, and just part of who we are.
Hey, and can I ask you a question about your family?
Sure.
Does your mom live here as well, or?
No, she she never has been here. It's always been the three of us. Well, and math, four.
Thought for a second you disowned your sister that threw the cake.
Well, she's always on the borderline, but no, she's. My mother is not their mother. We had different mothers, hence why I am who I am, and they are who they are.
Solaris, where were you? I thought I saw you leave Did you come in from outside, or where were you this morning?
Oh, I spent a little time in the greenhouse reading, and also talking to En's father a bit. I don't sleep really. I go into a trance for about 4 hours and have the rest of the morning to do whatever.
Do you have to lay down when you're in a trance, or do you sit up? How does that work?
You can do either. I sometimes sit up, but the bed was pretty cozy, so I laid my head down. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. My father has a meditation stool that he uses, but the children have beds. It makes things a little bit easier for them to be a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
And because I had one, they insisted on having one as well.
Of course.
Where does Thule go when you poof and unpoof him?
Oh, I've created a nice, comfy little pocket dimension for him to stay in. It's hard to explain. It's like extraplanar space, not really of this world.
Is he always an owl?
It's the form that he prefers. He has his own personality. But sometimes if I need him to be something else or want to try something different, I can cast a ritual and change him into a cat or a different bird, a ferret.
Has he ever been mad at you for something you've changed him into?
Yes, one time I did turn him into a snake, and he wasn't very fond of that. And Thule kind of just like has a little reaction to that.
Yeah. There's the whole head bob thing.
Yeah, like kind of a little scowl you can see forming his feathers. Well, I guess we have some decisions to make.
It certainly seems so. I hope that Kothar will find his way back soon. I don't think he stayed last night.
Oh, is he not back yet? Where is Kothar?
Kothar, do you want to dramatically walk into the building now?
Well, that was a mighty fine night.
The door opens
Why
and
did everyone else sleep? Oh, bacon.
Would you like coffee as well, Kothar?
Coffee?
Yes.
What is... Yes. I'll try it, sure.
So,
and roll an insight.
Okay.
Hospitality is very important to your family. You have spent enough time around Kothar to understand him. He has a very rough exterior, but has a bit of a a seriousness that he produces on the outside that kind of sits on the layer of ignorance that he obsesses over. However, he does have a very central inner like gentleness about him. So you can prepare the coffee properly by reading him.
Perfect. I think that Anne will get up and it'll be a lighter brew with cream, but also with cinnamon and a little bit of ginger to add some warmth as well to it. And so they'll come back with the mug in hand and say, this, made it a little bit special. So let me know if this is something that you'd like, Kothar.
Thank you. New look today.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you. New looks most days when I'm home. I try to take advantage of it while I can.
Change things up, yeah? He's gonna sip it. Never having coffee before, it's just like this. Like a kid when they try something new. Like they get like that really excited face, and then he's gonna realize he's showing that, just kind of like mask it. Yes, it's exactly how I
Give
remember.
me a
It's quite good,
wisdom
dude.
saving throw, Koth.
Oh no.
Oh no, did I just wire the barbarian?
3.
So, have you ever watched the 9-9 before? It's
No.
the captain after trying a marshmallow. It's so good. It's so amazing. Like it's that nice bitterness that like kind of like sinks in very well, but like the sweetness and like that cinnamon pinch at the end, it actually like tickles your flamethrower like throat so well. It's amazing.
Oh, it's perfect. This is coffee. What did you put in it?
Cinnamon and cream. And just the tiniest pinch of ginger for the warmth.
Very, very good. That's such thank you. I really appreciate it, Anne. Yeah, this is quite nice. Something they've gotten better. Much better.
Well, you're very welcome. And I think starting with 1 cup is a good start.
Kothar, the cup's already gone.
Yes, one cup. That's fine.
Yes.
Sets it down, defeated.
Well,
But I think we should discuss over food. What?
yeah, of course. And
Sorry, I'm a little late.
It's fine. I haven't been up long myself, so.
And do you know a gold tar?
Gold tar.
Roll
Yes,
a history.
Old man. What?
Dragonborn.
Dragonborn.
He's a very, very old, somewhat senile man who lives in the abandoned temple in the town. The temple that people have been trying to, buy the land to build some other type of establishment. People have claimed different XYZ reasons, but he is the owner of it and he's never sold. He's kind of a recluse, stays away from everybody.
Well, there's been a few attempts at purchasing the property, but I know that the owner keeps to himself, and I think that it does. Yes, it rings a bell. I believe that's him. Yes. So I know of him.
You just mentioned your name. I met him last night. I
Oh.
was strolling about.
Gabriel looks up at you and goes, "Where did you meet him?"
In the town.
He doesn't go to... goes back to eating toast.
He mentioned me?
Yeah, he said you were quite a charismatic person. I don't know. He was saying you were very good at speaking, and just mentioned your name, that he may have wanted to talk to you, but I said I'd speak to him. Just that I had heard of you and knew of you. So.
Oh, I see. Well,
Yeah.
That is a high compliment, I must say. Most people they'll either say charming, or there's some other words that I've been called, but anything around charismatic or charming is a compliment to me.
Yeah. But everyone else sleep all right, Rowan? I don't think else. Good, like a dream. Do you like dream in animal form, Rowan? I've just wondered. Like, you've had dreams like you were, because you turn into a wolf now and then.
Yeah, sometimes I wake up as a wolf and like my feet are moving, and that's a little disorienting, but
The puppy
That
kicks.
would
Yeah.
I find it all fascinating. I have to admit to everyone here, I've never studied magic, and I know I've been able to cast it and successfully. I just do not know where a lot of mine comes from, and so it's interesting to see everyone the way that their magic works. And Solaris, watching whenever you were using bits of things to cast magic, that was, you know, my father tried to get me into a school. My mind just does not work that way, and you know, it's just very interesting to see how everyone else works with magic. It's a part of me that is still a question.
Yes. Well, I do know that there are those that draw their power more from within, so to speak. Somewhere different, sometimes unexplainable. I'd assume it's your heritage.
Some of it, we've been able to determine as such. Of course, my father has been adamant I know how to take care of myself, as far as what as far as what my body allows. But beyond that, you see, we've both of the opinion that I am what I am, and to question it too hard could bring doubt in my mind about who it is that I am, and have me thinking that what my body is determines who I am and my personality and my future. And so we've decided mostly that anything beyond what's immediately practical in the physical sense is not necessarily for me to know.
I guess strange to hear about each other. I mean, given the fact what we met last night, about to go and travel for weeks up north together. I mean, barely know anything of each other.
Well, if there's one thing that I do know about, it's learning to keep a group working together, and I feel that we've done that. And
I agree.
There's no better way to know someone than to go through something together, and watching a portal open and close between my home, underneath my hometown, and
Yes.
fight undead, and
Yes, I'd say that fighting undead and demons together can make you pretty close.
yes, and I'm sure everyone else would agree that there's things that you learn working next to somebody that is much deeper than what you can learn living next to somebody.
Agree with that.
Rowan nods her head, but she's like more focused on shoveling breakfast food into her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
So it's going to be slightly cold traveling. We should probably make sure we get the proper clothing that we'd need.
Yes, I agree.
And you were going to have your father sell the jewelry?
Yes, we'll reach out to his network and see. So that piece of jewelry there, it takes the right buyer.
Gotcha.
It's certainly a unique piece, and we wouldn't want to sell it to the first jeweler we came across.
Because I spent a lot of gold last night, so
I'm in a kind of like, there's like one place that would still have been open when Kothar
I left.
Yeah.
Uh,
So it's like, okay.
What'd you spend that gold on that late?
huh? I mean, it's been a bit of time, but I went to just a house of the night. Enjoyed the company of others.
That's how Gabriel and I met, so...
Wait, what? Did Gabriel used to work there?
Gabriel stops eating his avocado toast long enough to look up and go, "Well, I still do."
Interesting.
Yeah, so... That might account for the chipper mood this morning.
I always have a chipper mood. Every day I get to see the sun as a chipper mood.
Not a bad way to look at it.
Yes. But, I was thinking of getting something made. I mean, I kind of wearing rags. So, Rowan, you said you deal with, like, furs and animal products, stuff like that?
Yeah, well, I've been involved in some for trading. There's a trader in town that sells them more, but I have supplied the furs to that shop.
Okay.
And you'll need a tailor to get the sizing right.
I'm kind of currently wearing like bandages and whatever this is around my waist. I don't really know.
Well,
Is it
lucky
a
for you.
loincloth?
Kind of like a war cloth, yeah.
Yeah.
Very ragged war cloth.
Well, lucky for you, the tailors in town owe me a few favors, so...
I appreciate you pulling some strings for us.
Well, they'll be pulling the strings, but...
But Rowan, if you can find some way to get me a good deal on like a brown bear kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm sure we could get you a discount. I mean, I've supplied that place with some product before, so.
Do they also keep like the skulls as well?
The bear skulls?
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen a skull or two in that shop. But if they're in there, they're not going to last long. So
I'm just thinking of like one on my shoulder, just one like the top of the jaw and head on my shoulder somehow, kind of.
for like a little panaz.
Just some spice to it, yeah. Like the coffee.
Yeah, I bet. I'm sure they have. If there's not a bear head, there's got to be some other type of skull in there.
If not, we'll just go find a bear.
Yeah, we could do that.
When in doubt, find bear.
I would say that when you guys did eventually wake up and find Solaris, he had also changed his outfit, considering that the old one had cake on it.
Fair enough.
A
Wait,
mage,
you're a wizard
a
who-
mage without prestidigitation.
Right?
I know I'm kicking myself for not taking it, but
You even leveled up.
Well,
A high elf wizard without. You get an extra
well,
cantrip.
there would have been a maid that came by when you woke up, offering to take it to have it laundered.
okay. Well, I have it laundered and everything, but he does like to change as well. But so he's in more of like his previous attire was the one you see in his picture that's kind of on the screen. It's like that purple robe with a high kind of turtleneck and like gilded golden lines kind of branching off. But now he's wearing like a kind of a burgundy red robe with a cloak. And on the back of the cloak is like a design it's kind of like a simplistic sun design. It's like just a gold circle and different length lines kind of like spreading off on the cloak. So there.
Ready.
Fashion conscious party. I like it.
Yeah.
Gabriel is currently wearing the same clothes as yesterday.
We're into
Gabriel,
roll.
yep. I guess I just wanted to apologize for some of the issues I sometimes cause for not knowing certain things. I'm from a group that wasn't isn't well known here. Bit of a rambunctious group, yeah. But how we refer to things, I think, is very different than how you all do now. And it was more of like a military vanguard unit, very small, but they don't really. We aren't used anymore. So I do apologize if it creates any sort of confusion or anything.
Well, you seem familiar with the area, but just from my own travels, it's interesting. As soon as you leave, you tend to pick up the tendencies of wherever you're staying, and you know, it's a important skill set. I was taught to adapt to the environment I'm in at that time that I enter.
I have a DM question. What do we know about, what does Solaris know about like dragonborns in this world? Like, are they common?
Incredibly
Or is, like,
uncommon.
Okay, that's what I was...
You, in all of your years, have never met a dragonborn.
What do you come from, Kothar?
An egg.
Yes. I mean,
Just great. Just great.
I mean.
wait. No, it's you really do hatch from eggs.
Yeah.
What color was your egg?
Do you still have pieces?
No. That was a very long time ago. No, I don't have any pieces.
That's sorry. It's just well.
No, I don't.
Wait, and then like it'll just stop and like sorry. I get these kinds of questions all the time. I should know better than to ask them.
My siblings' eggs were different from mine, but we all had different eggs, I guess. I never saw what mine was, but I mean, theirs kind of fit to the attributes that they had.
Interesting.
Kothar, did you ever tell us where you were born? If you did, I can't remember.
I never did.
Where were you born?
That is a very good question. Where was I born?
That's completely up to you.
Well, I mean, I wrote down that I was born in something, but I don't know where it'd be located here. It was a very discreet location with people of not my kind. Other dragonborns. Mainly grew up around humanoids, non-monstrous people. Except my siblings, but we weren't related through blood or anything. We were more just in the same nest.
So, all of you would know that, typically speaking, when a group of individuals who are not typically found in the humanoid spectrum are together, they're usually referred to as outlanders or tribesmen. There's lots of tribes outside of the dignified and well-developed aspects of Solemn. Pointedly, like the location all of you are going to be heading to in a week. Like that. Very often, exactly like that.
They were, the people we grew up with were raised by, actually. Part of a group or an organization. They were very into magic and other sorts. It was a very long time ago, though.
Oh, so I've run into a few on my travels. We kind of like a roaming clan, kind of thing.
Tieflings?
Oh no, I'm from where you're from. Is you're less from what I'm understanding is that you're less from a place and more from a group.
Yes, they were a very clandestine group that kept to a very old, ruinous kind of area. It was very secluded from everything. But it's long since destroyed now. Not sure where my siblings are, but... But it's nice to see a family together in your home, Anne.
Well,
Do you two have siblings? Just gestures to Rowan and Solaris.
None that I've met.
None that you've met.
Or know of, I should say.
I
Are
do
you not
have
a big-
siblings.
Rowan, are you not a big family person?
Not really.
No.
No.
no,
Um.
it's not for everyone, and trust me, there are times when it's difficult.
I'd say sometimes your closer family is sometimes ones that aren't blood related. But
What about you,
sometimes
Solaris?
that's
I do not have siblings. I was an only child.
Are you a family man, Solaris? Do you want to settle down one day and not just cozy up to your dusty old books?
Getting a little roboto zen.
Sorry.
Well, that remains to be seen, but at the moment, I have a lot of ambitions that a family might make complicated. But maybe.
It's not like you're pressed for time.
Very true. So I didn't really know my father. Just grew up with my mother. Her and I had a pretty close relationship, and she saw a lot of potential, so sent me off to school, and I ended up loving it.
That was my father's story as well. And I'll like look at Rowan and Kothar and kind of explain. Well, you see, my father, for the age of his children, including me, is a little older for elves. So he did the same. He waited until his businesses were in shape and he had stability in his life and accomplished what he had wanted before they decided to have children. And so it's not an uncommon thing.
Finishes the tea.
So I don't know this area that we're going to. Do we have any maps of it?
Yes. I don't believe so.
Rowan.
I know I don't have any.
Rowan, roll me a D100.
Okay, that's /R space D100. Okay.
Power just.
Your power just went out? Oh no.
It's alright, keep going.
Yeah.
My things will hold some battery, I hope.
Alright.
Ooh, that's spooky.
Yeah. 24. Unfortunately for that territory, you haven't spent a great deal of time out there. You have interactions with other tribesfolk very commonly. However, for that territory, it's a bit more cliquey, if that makes any sense. Like, if you aren't a part of somebody's tribe and you're not represented by another tribe, they really don't like you. So it's more dangerous, and you've kind of stayed away from that in all of your travels in this region. So, unfortunately, you do not have any maps of it.
Would
Is there a map vendor?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I'm just thinking, would In's father have maps if he was trading out that way?
To make this very easy, create a list of the things that your father could procure for you, and he will. He does enough trading that if you wait a week, he can get almost anything.
Okay.
Magic items is kind of his limitation. He can't really get magic items. Spell components, sure, but not actual magic items. But whatever the list of things are, he would be able to produce for you. And you would just have to cover the baseline expense of it, but you're not paying full price, so...
Right. Paying for cost.
What type of maps are you looking for? Are you looking about topographical maps? Are you looking for geographical maps? Any more specific location-oriented? How detailed? How outwards? How inwards? What?
I feel like we should get a really detailed topographical map of that lake.
Which one?
The one we're going to.
You're kind of going to both.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely around the lakes, to include the port city.
Okay. So, if you need a topographical of that, is that all you're getting? It's just topographical?
Is there one with like suggested tourist stops on the way?
You can buy pre-owned maps with markings from previous adventurers. The problem is, since you're not looking at it in person, you don't know exactly how useful that's going to be, so it'll be a flip of a die. You pay a little bit more, but you have the possibility of it being a lot better. Or even a slight possibility of it being severely damaged.
Visit Belfast today.
Yeah. It depends on who the previous owner was. It's kind of like anyone who went to college, you get a textbook. If you get one of the pre-owned ones, sometimes they took a lot of notes, and it's great. And then other times they took a lot of notes of what the fuck is that supposed to mean.
It could be like the Half-Blood Prince.
Oh
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's your call. If you want to
So-
buy maps like that, you can. It's just a little bit more expensive.
Well, let's get two. Let's get.
I'd say
Let's
a
get-
large map of, if they have one that's more focused on the northeastern section of the world, since we're heading there.
Mm-hmm.
Topographical, probably something that just kind of shows roads and everything else, if they have one. And then maybe one that you're suggesting, Rowan,
Yeah.
that has maybe some
Yeah,
hidden
Half-Blood.
features.
A Half-Blood Prince map.
Okay.
Yeah, Half-Blood Prince map.
So I'm going to say that's going to run you about 20 gold. For all of that. And also,
Hold on.
who?
Isn't that what you spent at the place last night?
How do you know how much I spent last night?
I'm not gonna say I've never been there.
Yes, I
I've got it.
paid for 2. We fought last night, okay? All right.
Hey, treat yourself.
No judgment here.
Drinking. Some
I'm
things
the-
happened when I left. Some things,
Kothar,
emotional
Kothar.
things happened when I left. All right.
In walks
I
up
was
and
living
just
in the
pats.
moment.
In walks up and pats Kothar on the chest and goes, I'm the last person you have to make that argument towards. Okay, it's all right.
I
Solaris
feel like I'm
sips
making it to
tea.
myself more than anyone. I feel like I'm making it more to myself than anyone else.
I feel like Solaris sips tea and judges in Elven.
Judges in Elven, I love it.
Well
I
then.
wasn't sure since I was the only one that went there, and it's usually
No.
me and the other ones. And
So what other things are you all looking to purchase or procure?
I need a new axe. I'm not using this stone one anymore.
I would like. I believe I purchased like at the beginning when we started for my identify spell. Did I get 2 pearls?
You probably only purchased the one. It does not consume, so you only ever need the one.
Oh, it does not consume it. Okay.
Yeah. Some DMs say it does because Identify is technically broken. I say Identify does less than what it says. It will not tell you if it is cursed. So, you need an Arcana check to detect if something is cursed, or a spell like, detects curse and stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
And
yeah,
I'm
that's
good.
pretty much it.
I already purchased the short sword last session. I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
And we did our thing.
So, for traveling expenses,
Some food.
thanks to N's father's background, being a guild artisan and a guild leader within the trade groups and organizations, you are able to get a very reasonable discount on any of the goods that you may procure. The discount is going to be about 50%. However, we're going to say that you're doing a job for somebody. That is why they are renting you their cart, their horses, and you have to protect them, return them, and make a delivery for them out inside of Belfast Port. Cool?
Yeah.
Cool.
Alrighty. So if we're looking at 155, and yes, I do not have all of this memorized because it's a lot of numbers. Alright. How fancy are we getting for your travel? Because I know N's
Get under
answer.
Control N.
There's small like indulgences like the bath set, but in has traveled and has put many miles on their bare feet, so we can
Hooves.
hooves, of course. So so I wouldn't say anything that's too fancy, just reliable.
Reliable and warm and like food that's not super fancy, but not like.
Do you want a canopy over top of your traveling vehicle?
I'd say that
I
could
want
be
to
him.
burn.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
your
that's
options
Sunday.
are a carriage, a cart, a chariot, which I mean that's kind of impractical, and a wagon.
Carriage?
The carriage would have a canopy, but they are exponentially more expensive.
Oh.
It's your call. It's your guys' gold. I'm just trying to do all the calculations for you real quick.
I'm good with something simple with a canopy.
That would be
Cart with the canopy?
a wagon. A wagon
Wagon,
would have a
okay.
canopy.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty. So
And I'm assuming the axe will be separate.
sure.
Yeah, because I have to go I want that made.
Alrighty. Do you all want an emergency sled considering the environment you are in?
Emergency sled.
Sure.
Yeah.
You mean in case I find a hill I want to go sledding down? Is that what the emergency is for?
And just produces their own. Yes, emergency. That's half price is fine. And then feed, we're going to just put at 1 GP worth of feed. Alrighty. So we're looking at 50, 60, 80 gold for 2 horses, bit brittle, 18 GP wagon, 10 GP sled, and 1 GP worth of food for the horses. Sound good?
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Alright.
Yeah.
There we go. That's 80 gold, yeah. So 80 GP off for all of that stuff. If somebody wants to get a specific saddle in case you have to remove the horses from the cart, you can do that as well, but that will be more expensive.
I'm not going to be able to ride that horse.
It's a draft horse. It could carry you.
I feel really bad for the horse.
That's fair.
It'd probably turn into a reverse camel. No, I'm good.
Oh my god.
It's like the best visual.
It's like the worst visual.
Just a U shape. I'm so sorry.
Aw. I'll pay for the
Just-
horse.
It's always the dragon that kills the horse, man.
Always. Alright.
I put in 20 already for the maps, so that would be
100 gold.
total for everyone.
Yup.
Which we could use from. We could use the 100 from our that we got early on to pay for the map and that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
So,
Yeah.
somebody, you know what? N, roll me a persuasion. I'm gonna say your dad has the same charisma modifier as you. I think that's
Okay.
reasonable. Okay. The map you have is interesting. It shows mostly around the Hooked Lake. The interesting aspect about it is apparently the individual did a little bit of sailing in the region as well and pointed out a few interesting islands or little peninsulas that they didn't know originally existed inside of it, as well as many altered locations, how far of a journey it takes with a boat to get to a different area that you can actually, manage yourself with, and a few other natural resources and large fishing holes inside of it. So it turns out that it doesn't help you very much in the way of the area surrounding the lake, but if you move onto the lake, it could be very useful.
Before we do take off, I know we're not leaving for a few days, but I will want to stop back at the old building that Goldtar's at, just to make sure that he's okay. He seemed quite old and a bit crazy, but I don't see many Dragonborn, so I'd like to stop by and at least say goodbye.
And I'd like some time to go to the bakery.
Yes, we gotta do the pastry
Okay.
run.
A bakery? What is...
It's like that coffee, but
Like, they make bread.
yeah, it's like putting that coffee inside the bread.
Hey, remember that wisdom save, Kothar? That was really good coffee.
Oh.
Solaris, just because you
We
might
should
have
go
to go
there
soon, is there anything you were looking to purchase outside of the norm? They do have minor spell components that you can purchase. Since N's father is doing a run into Weldon Top, you can put in an order for a spell scroll if you want. Only first level limitations, no necromancy, because that is illegal.
Of course.
Yeah, or anything along those lines. Anything.
Um,
Just because I want to make sure you get yours in before you have to leave.
yes, absolutely. Let me look at. I did have a first level spell that I wanted to look into getting, but let me look. I can't remember.
As long as it's not necromancy,
So I'll
I'm going to
message-
say they probably have it.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of first level spells, and I'm like, no, you can't have it. That's for
Yeah.
druids. Yeah.
Healing spirit.
Oh, just Rowan, do me a favor and never take healing spirit, please. I nerfed it into the ground. It's so bad. It's so amazing, but no.
So how much would a first level spell scroll run?
A first level spell scroll is going to run you about 60 GP. And then you need 50 GP worth of paper and ink to transcribe it into your book. After you transcribe it, you still have the usable scroll, but then you've learned the spell and put it into your book.
Right.
So you're looking at 110 GP to have a scroll and copy it down.
Okay.
Might be a bit expensive for you, I don't know.
All right. Let me see. I'm looking.
And also, does anybody need any tool supplies? Maybe your background gives you proficiency in tools, but you do not own the tools.
Can I buy a climbing kit?
Absolutely. Whatever it says the price is what the price is.
I actually do have a herbalism kit.
You do? Perfect.
Yeah.
So it's not really a climbing kit so much as it's an explorer's pack, which I believe you already have, Rowan.
I do.
Okay. The only thing you would need on top of that would be a harness, which I'll say you get rock climbing harness for 2 GP. Cool?
Yeah.
Awesome.
After I buy the new axe and everything, I'm taking the old one to Goldtar,
Okay.
the stone one. I'm just gonna tell him he can more back. Hold on to it.
Solaris, do you want the paper and ink for both of them as well? Or the paper and ink for only one of them?
I have I have 209 gold at the moment, so I don't think I have enough to get the paper and ink for both of them yet.
Does anyone want to lend Solaris 11 gold?
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm broke.
You're broke, but you have both of them transcribed into your spell book.
Woohoo!
And you have the spell scroll still, which you can resell if you want at a later time, or you can use for an oh shit, Kothar, read this. Like,
Okay.
what the
Sounds
fuck does this?
What the fuck is this thing? Let me get my glasses.
Just read it.
Alright.
And a great axe cost how much?
A great axe? Oh, it's not a whole lot. 30 GP.
Okay. 'Cause I feel like mine would break eventually.
The stone one, probably. What I usually do for like underdeveloped weaponry is it crits on a 19, but if you roll a crit, it breaks.
Ah.
So, yay, you got that crit, but then oh.
Explosion.
Pretty much, yeah. Stone daggers and stuff like that. It's easier to really... It's funny thing. It's easier to kill somebody with a stone weapon than it is a typical standard like iron or steel weapon because of the infection they suffer later.
Yeah.
However, of course, if you're trying to kill somebody with a blade, K-bar is the way to go.
Oh my lord.
I have a small fascination with blades and swords and stuff.
Hey, Jero, speaking of blades and swords, I have I think it's a scimitar.
Yeah.
If mine is like a rusty one, do I get extra like damage points for like tetanus or something?
It would be the same thing
Yes.
if you want to take that debilitating feature. You crit on a 19, but if you roll a 19 or a 20, you crit and then it breaks.
Okay.
So you have the possibility to hurt them more, but then your weapon is destroyed.
Ooh, like
Can mine
poison
be-
damage.
Can I have a rusty sim?
Sure.
Okay.
Do you want one
Mine's
of
rusty.
both?
One of no, just a rusty one.
All right, so what happens when that one breaks and you have no other weapons? Just saying.
Kick the crap out of
Turn-
people with my iron pot.
All right, fair.
Turn into an animal.
Oh
Maul them to
no,
death.
all I have left are my bare hands. Bare.
Your
LOL.
bare hands. The what?
All right, perfect. So you send out the order for that. Nobody else had any other order they needed. Potions, potions of poison.
I think we talked last time about like in picking up some armor and stuff, so I already had that reflected.
Perfect. Then we're good on that. No other spell components for anybody. Anything that has a cost to it. Remember, you still need that component.
Yeah, I really need some spell components.
Yeah, whatever.
Mm,
I cast.
does
hey,
the
look,
new clothing
hint.
cost anything?
Depends how nice you want it to be. Oh wait, I'm
It's like
sorry.
a- it's like-
N. So,
Yeah, I guess N's Taylor is the one making it. so-
Kothar for the appropriate winter wear that is suitable and stretched to the point to be able to fit a
Oh.
dragonborn properly.
I was gonna make it like a vest thing.
Yeah.
That has like the fur kind of sticking out, like in the collar area.
Oh,
Like this
okay.
big,
So it like
mane.
tickles your neck.
Yeah.
All right.
It shows the chest, a little bit taste of chest too.
Okay.
Show.
So for
The
some.
bear skull on the shoulder.
Oh, you're getting real fancy. Okay, for custom work like that, you're looking at 3 gold.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Yeah.
And maybe some pants too, because I don't really want.
Oh, you want pants? All right.
I don't really want just the vest and then like battle cloth.
This was a bad idea. Wrong half.
Shrinkage! It's shrinkage. It's cold out.
It's really cold out.
Sure.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Hey, be happy you're not considered a lizard technically.
Oh my god. No, I was doing a Ron Burgundy.
Yeah. So, I'll say for a nice pair of relaxed leather pants that N figures out shockingly your exact dimensions in order to buy for you, that'll be another GP.
Okay, so 4. Cool.
Leather lace, very easy to peel up and down, but they're tight around the legs to give you that extra, emphasis on your physique. Hey, it's only tight on the legs. Everything else is good.
Thank you. All right.
Anybody else spending money on what they wear?
Surprisingly not from over here. We got winter clothes already.
Already.
I did not.
Rowan doesn't need it.
That's right.
Rowan is Rowan. Gabriel probably already has his as well from a few years back, so he's reasonable.
I'm broke.
Oh yeah. You are in
Solaris,
fact.
Solaris, do you need winter clothing?
Potentially. These robes are warmer than your average clothing, but I'm not sure if they're necessarily winter clothing.
I'll give it-
How tall
I'll-
is Solaris?
He's considerably taller than your father.
He's like 6'5", 6. No, 6
Oh,
feet.
because I was gonna see if Anne had stuff to fit. But
Mm,
Anne is It is 5'7".
Yeah.
So
I'm thinking we just throw a dead animal on him like a wolf.
I mean, if we could just get some like furs maybe attached to this robe, like a hood and some furs, maybe like a fur cloak, maybe that would be nice.
some gloves, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I'll cover it.
Okay.
appreciate it.
Considering N offered to cover it, and it's going to be another 4 GP because you just buy high-end good stuff.
Right.
High quality. You go to the same person. And by the way, your tailor's name is Marquise.
Of course.
Yep, he's coming back. Very flamboyant human male. Always flaunts over your dresses and all of your suits. And he is the individual who you go out, you get fine wares for, and bring back.
Cool. And so, Anne would take Solaris and Kothar at the same time and just be like standing next to Marquise, kind of doing the whole oh my goodness, Princess Diaries thing where it's like this one or this one or this one or this one, and be like, nope, that's it.
Solaris actually gets into it.
Yeah. Solaris, for some reason, when you walk out of there, you have like a new haircut as well. It's very like you're not even sure what happened.
Like looking at him like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, definitely looks good. One thing Marquise knows how to do is fashion. And of course, N, you have your custom-made hoof warmers.
Yes.
Okay.
Which are literally just leg warmers.
Yeah.
Gotta head out?
I do have to head out.
Alrighty, man. It was fun.
Yes, thank you.
We're almost done
next
here
week.
anyways. You all said less than 4 hours, or around 4 hours is preferred, so take care, man. You take care.
See everybody.
See ya.
See you next
Bye.
week.
Take care.
Next
See you next week.
Bye.
Ready?
But
There we go. Now, I have to hide that. Nope, wrong one. And move this one. My face is freaking huge. So, any other purchases while you're in town? I will say again, healing potions. Healing potions, anybody? Healing potions? Just in case.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna get 2. Or how much are they right now?
You're proficient in making
Standard.
them, aren't you?
Yeah, I have a herbalism kit, and I'm
Do you wanna
proficient
make
in
'em?
herbalism kit.
You have
Sure.
in Rowan, what's your background again? Sorry.
Hang on.
What is it?
There's gonna be some old school potions.
Hey.
Like the background that we picked from the book or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah.
Folk hero. Ah.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Rustic hospitality. Literally what happened last night. So you'll have to find somebody to get you the raw herbs. Rowan, as a druid, you do have the capabilities of going out and finding it. If you two want to allocate time to doing that, you could find the herbs that are necessary for creating them, and Kothar could make them at a discounted rate.
You want to do that, Kothar?
Yeah.
Cool. How many days?
How many days how many days does it take for me to collect those herbs? Pretty quick.
It depends on how. It's going to be a roll. We roll to see how many you can collect, and based off of how many days you do it is how much more. If you roll less than enough to make 1 potion for 1 day, but you did 2 days, then you have 1 potion's worth. So it's going to be math and stuff. You guys have a total of 7 days, one of which is allocated to resizing Kothar for his outfits.
Oh my, yeah. So I guess you want to do like 3 days? Unless you have stuff you want to do.
Nope.
3 days it is. All right. Roll me a survival check, please, Rowan. $12. Across the 3 days, you have accumulated enough herbs to produce, if Kothar does it right, 2 potions.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Do you want me
Kothar.
to
Roll
roll?
your herbalism kit using wisdom.
Okay. Yeah, I have it set for wisdom.
Good.
14.
You managed to create 1 potion, and with the other remaining herbs had to outsource to somebody else, so you're spending a total of 50 gold for 2 potions.
Okay.
Not bad.
So I have 3 potions?
If you already had 1, you have 2.
Oh, sorry. I heard I made 1, so then we bought another one.
You
Gotcha.
made 1, and then you had to outsource to somebody to finish creating it for the second one.
Yep.
So you
And
made
those are
2.
just potions of healing.
Standard potions of healing, but hey, it only cost you 25 gold
Yeah.
for 2.
Yeah, that's really good.
See, sometimes tool proficiencies matter. And then bards are like, I have a really cool violin.
Tambourine. Thank you.
Tambourine, yep. Not bagpipes. That's the important part.
Thank you for helping me, Rowan.
No problem.
Yeah. If you want to do anything else while we're out there, I'm sure there was, if you want to get stuff that you need to get while we're out there.
Can I pick? Are there wild mushrooms I can pick?
Absolutely.
I pick a bag of
Psychedelics.
them, and sometime during the break, we all roast them and just eat them.
Okay.
Perfect.
Roll another survival check.
Oh no.
Please,
Oh, God
please let some be
bless it.
You
psychedelic.
said mushrooms.
Please let Gabriel be the one that gets a psychedelic mushroom. I want to hear the horror
Oh
stories
no, that would be
has.
so
Oh,
bad.
Rowan, you found a huge crop of
Oh my
amazing
God.
wild mushrooms. It's amazing. You have no
Yes.
idea why they're untouched. I mean, they have like the perfect little frilly inside lining. They the dome top of them seems like very reasonably placed, and like they're that really
Are
nice.
they Amanita muscara? Because if they are,
I don't know anything specific about mushrooms. I just
They're-
think they're disgusting.
they're
What?
they're the ones with the red caps.
Oh
And
no,
the,
it's not.
And
a
the
red.
white ones. They're
Mm-mm.
commonly
Toad.
No,
they're
no.
the magic mushrooms.
No, it's not that one. However, Rowan, you went out and you produced a bag full of these mushrooms, like overflowing with it. So you bring it back, start roasting them. Who here has experience living in nature and in the wilds, like off roads away from civilization? Kothar,
Me.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, Kothar, roll me a medicine check.
Please, Kothar.
Hey, I'm proficient in that. 8.
Mushrooms seem good.
Oh God.
I eat. Not one, but a few. I have a large hand, I gotta.
Yeah. So as you roast all of them, luckily you did burn away a bit of the potency from this. However, Kothar, Rowan, and I assume you're eating as well. Solaris is
Yes.
absolutely eating. Gabriel probably has 1. You all lose a day. You don't know what happened.
Son of a.
Oh no, what did I do?
Kothar, you're in the wild, completely naked, surrounded with a dead bunny.
Is there blood in my mouth?
You're a little scared to look.
I just taste.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And you're in the next town over.
Jesus.
And there's currently 4 men and women in the same bedroom as you.
Oh,
Yeah, and
woo!
That's
Rowan, you're at the top of a pine tree.
oh God. My clothes are on, right?
Mostly, yeah.
That's
I
a
mean,
victory.
upside down, but yeah.
I'll take it.
You tried. You do have a better constitution than most.
I'm like the worst druid ever.
the best. Getting into these things are the best.
Yeah, Rowan, you look down the tree and you see Kothar lying there with the bunny.
Oh my God, do I know the bunny?
No, you don't know it personally.
Okay.
Okay.
Do I know the
Hey, serious question here. However, you do see that you have like a bite mark in the back of your leg, Rowan.
Shaped like Koftar's mouth? God damn it.
Don't give magic mushrooms to dragonborns. He could have burnt the entire forest down. However, I think on that little bit of comic relief, it's a good place for us to end tonight. When we get back, you're all gathering your things together and heading out onto your adventure. So,
Are we hungover from the mushrooms?
I'll say that
We
that was like in
don't
the middle of
speak.
the week.
We don't speak of what happened.
Maybe y'all don't, but N.
Like, oh god, this is fantastic. What bits I remember. It's perfect.
All you know is whenever you walk into a room in this town, everybody just starts screaming, "The gentleman!" for no reason.
Okay. They're like, yeah.
I miss How I Met Your Mother. But anyways, we're gonna end it here. Everybody who showed up and played today, I really appreciate it. Those of you that weren't able to, we look forward to seeing you again next time. Zen, welcome back. Everybody else,
Thank
take
you.
care of yourselves. Goodbye.